I'll just call you out and
make me look stupid. I don't even care. Yeah,
it's not hard to do.
No. I set myself up. I try to give people, some ammunition, just in case they need it.
I mean, your existence is plenty.
Yeah, exactly.
The banter's on point. We should be recording already. We're fucking up.
All right. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? We in here. We out here. You know how it is. You know what to do. Can't come up with any better introduction than that.
What better intro is there?
There absolutely isn't one. Wasted potential. Once again, we are here wasting potential. I'm here with Monsieur Tre Ulseth. Is that how you say?
That is. That is. You nailed it.
You got a middle name?
We don't talk about my middle name, but it's Norman. So,
which is exactly why we don't talk about it.
Yep. Robert Norman Ulseth III is my full legal name.
So where did Trey come from?
The third.
Oh.
Yep. Because all the variations of Robert were taken.
That was easy enough.
There you go.
Yeah. Rob, Bob, Bert.
Robbie, Bobby, Bert. Yep. All taken. All taken.
Bert would be terrible.
Exactly. Like
Ober. I've never heard of someone named Ober. You take the middle letters.
I mean,
that's a terrible name.
People have thought that I derived Trey from Robert backwards, being TRE, the first letters of it, and I'm just like,
that's kind of a stretch.
Right, some serious mental gymnastics over something so simple.
Trey must come from his first name, but the last three letters reversed. That would be like me calling myself Benjamin Nim, which would actually be kind of dope.
That would be kind of dope.
I'm kind of down.
Can I call you Nim tonight?
Yeah. At least for tonight, I'm Nim. Anytime you see me in the future, I'm Nim. Anybody else has to call me Ben, though. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome. Welcome. Cheers to you, Trey. Robert. What's going on, man? How's all this?
The shitstorm?
I feels like, it's like a foregone. What's the point of asking that question? How are you weathering the storm? What's been good?
It comes in waves.
Yeah.
I mean, I lately have been on a pretty solid writing and production kick.
Good.
So, like, I've been building up a big vault of material for Neptvne for a while.
Awesome.
And, like, I'm starting to get release plans on the horizon. So,
sweet.
Yeah.
All self-produced kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'll say, like, 90% self-produced.
What part of it isn't?
Sometimes, like, there's one album that I just finished writing that out of the 7 songs on it, 4 of them I produced entirely from scratch.
Yeah.
3 of them were beats that I found from other producers that I kind of chopped, screwed, and took apart. So they're like cool. Half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I've never really messed around with that kind of stuff. I've messed around with electronic stuff a little bit, but that world, you know what it is to me? It's so infinite and without parameters that I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's like a writer's paradise, but it's
also a writer's hell.
Exactly. It's like it's overwhelming, you know, once you get into it.
I mean, part of it is letting the song dictate its parameters to you. Yeah. Like, I mean, some of my stuff wants the, like, really deep, chuggy guitars, and some songs, like, I'm working on one right now that's like, if you put a guitar on me, I will cry. And it's just like, all right, like, I've tried.
Doesn't fit.
Right. It's just like, I've tried everything. I've tried, like, regular acoustic. I've tried fuzzed out acoustic. Yeah. I've tried, like, clean, low electric. I've tried, like, chuggy electric. None of it.
So it's all electric, or is it got some acoustic drums or bass? Or?
So the concept record that I just finished writing is, I would say, it's going to be like 3/4 electric drums and 1/4 live drums.
Yeah.
I'm actually
I like
the asshole that you reminded me of, my good friend Curtis.
Yes.
He's drumming on the songs that need live drums.
So. For some context there, he was like, before we started recording, he was like, did you ever meet this guy Curtis? I forget his last name, but would have met through a mutual friend, Brandon. And he's like, you guys would get along. And I was like, is he an asshole? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, there you go. Yes, we would have.
Self-identify. It's like, there's one thing of like baseline level of asshole, and then there's level of asshole where you embrace it.
Where you just take it on. And that, for me, I'm like, I don't actually, the funny thing is people are like, dude, you just love being, I'm like, no, I don't. I don't really. There's parts of me that I have to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got their bullshit to deal with, and mine is apparently being a dick.
And mine is being an anxious wreck. So, like...
Man, when I was younger, and I'll always have this diagnosably, anxious and the whole thing.
Okay.
I had social anxiety really bad, but also just a lot of, really, really crippling anxiety. And I don't know, man. Actually, moving to LA might have been one of the things that helped me overcome it because I'm so constantly overstimulated here.
That you just have to get over it.
You're just like, okay, fight or flight, man. Like, fly or fucking fall to the ground, sort of. You know, like I always have a background level of it. You don't get over it, but like you learn. If you're fortunate, some people need meds, some people don't. I just happen to be one of the people who could, teetering the line there.
Yeah, I've had my episodes of meds, but
yeah.
I've been clean in that regard for like 5 years now, so
I'll drink to that, man.
Cheers.
Seriously.
I just remembered this meme.
Yeah.
It's like, you mean to tell me that there's people out there that don't drink, don't smoke, don't take pharmaceuticals, that is out there raw dogging reality?
No protection.
Right?
Dude, I'm amazed at that. To some degree, what's funny is like every really sober person I've met tends to be kind of a sex freak to some degree. It's like, because there's an outlet. Everybody's got to have an outlet, and it's probably not true of every one of them, but the ones that I've met, I'm just like, oh,
so you're one of those.
There's a side of you that I didn't know. Like, why don't you just do that while getting fucked up? It's way more fun.
It can be, but can also get like sloppy.
Oh, it just fucks your life up like crazy, man. Right. It's one of the sloppiest. Probably one of the sloppiest addictions you can have,
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Having been there before, I can speak from experience.
There you go. Yeah. There was a phase I was having wine for breakfast.
Oh, yeah, man.
Not wine with breakfast. That's different.
Wine that's very
for
different.
Breakfast.
Yeah, you can have wine and a grapefruit, and it's totally chill. Once it's just wine, it's like, nah, man, this ain't it. Yeah, I definitely... I have for sure. If I have a vice, it's probably alcohol. Like among all the other ones that I have, but mostly that one. Like anyway, what? Well, shit. Now what was I gonna ask? I was gonna go somewhere with Neptune, but then we started talking about like real life shit, which struck me as much more interesting, to be honest.
Because if there's one thing Neptune isn't, it's interesting.
Yeah, Neptune, very very bland, very tasteless. Yeah, tell me a little bit about Neptune. How long has it been going? Is it just you?
It is just me.
It is
on a
just
fundamental level, anyway. Okay. I was looking for this project starting around 2016, and I started like trying to figure out where my solo direction would go.
Yeah.
I had done various iterations of like prog rock instrumental stuff and solo singer-songwriter folk acoustic thing, and I was kind of just like over both of those windows. And I knew I wanted to go somewhere in the electronic world and like the rap world kind of. And so it was December 2017 when I was making a bunch of demos, and I was actually tripping acid at my friend's Christmas party. And
awesome.
And so like divergent into the nature of this party. It was like one of those with the gift exchange where it's like you can either steal or open a new gift.
What is that? Is that a white
elephant?
White elephant. Nice. Yeah.
And anytime you were someone's about to open a gift, there'd be a massive chant of like 30 people in the room. What is that? What is that?
Awesome.
And like I'm coming up on acid. It's way too much. And I'm just like, please get me out of here.
Too intense. Yeah.
Right. It's like they're having fun. I'm not worried, but it's just like too much.
Yeah. It's overload.
Exactly. And so I was like, I just want this to be over. And so I open a gift, and it's a fucking orange. I'm just like, yes. So I can just I literally tear the orange apart, throw it around the room. People are cheering and laughing, and I just leave the game. And I go outside because again, I'm too in my own world to be there.
Yeah.
And while I'm outside, I take out my phone and listen to one of the demos I've been working on, and I just look up at the moon, and my eyes are like this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I've been brainstorming names for a while. I'd actually come up with the name Neptune a couple months before.
Nice.
But had just kind of okay, I like that. I actually felt like I got struck by lightning when I coined the term.
Nice.
But I was I'm just going to keep fishing for other names, no rush.
Just make sure it's the one,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that night it was the moon was like, bro, stop looking. Like, you found it already. Let it go.
That's great.
So yeah, coined the name in December 2017, released first song October 2018.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did we meet? Was it would have been around then, right?
It was before
later.
then, actually.
Was it? Yeah.
Because I was still playing with Ashes of Luna.
Yes. And the first time I met you, and this is more for you than it is for him, but the first time I met Trey, he comes in, bags under his eyes. I don't even know when the last time you slept was, but we were with, she's now Estrina. Estrina?
Okay. Estrina, yeah.
She was Daria Black at the time, and she was just like, yeah, he's been playing in like so many projects that he never gets a rest. He's like out on tours with he's in different projects. He's never sleeping. And you came in looking like you were never fucking sleeping. And I was like, much respect, because I think as soon as you started playing guitar, I was just like, all right. Like, I mean, I see why people hire this guy, but like, bro, get some sleep. Like, yeah, you were hitting it hard at that time, man.
I absolutely was. I mean, I really just dove into the session player thing.
Yeah.
Like, one guy that hired me literally compared me to a prostitute, which was a super appealing thing.
Oh, very appealing, man. Who doesn't want to be a prostitute?
Right?
Yeah.
But for the right price, it's like, we can go all night.
What is this business if not for the right price? Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess like that period was really helpful in like building my chops, getting my stage experience up, getting a taste for how a lot of people run their projects, and a lot of different styles of music on a more in-depth level, and also a big lesson in like what I didn't want.
Well, sometimes, I mean, especially if you're going to go sort of the session player route where you're whoring yourself out, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you're not getting compensated. It's just, you know, you're giving yourself away and a lot of yourself. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way that you figure out, is somebody lifting weights?
Unfortunately, not me.
Yeah, well, I've, you know, COVID, man. But yeah, when you're doing that, I mean, it is funny how everybody has a different opinion, because there's no science to how to succeed in the music industry or whatever. And so to some degree, you just have to go in and just be like, okay, well, I'm going to push myself to the limit and find out what works. And really what that means is pruning all the things that don't work.
Oh, bro, exactly. Like, there's a reason that the only project I'm still actively involved with from that era is Estrina.
Yeah.
Like,
None of the other stuff.
No, because, I mean, either...
I didn't know that you played with Ashes of Luna. Did you play with them that day?
I did.
I
guess you were probably fucked up, but...
I was definitely fucked up. I'm only more sober now than I was then, which is not a good sign. Because I'm not particularly sober. But I remember.
I played with both Ashes and Daria.
By the time Ashes went on... Because we played, the Absurd played before Ashes of Luna, and by the time the Absurd went on, it was like running late, and I was just like, dude, I can't even play. Wow. And like, we played.
Yeah.
And
I thought you guys did good.
People liked it, yeah. Right. And I got off and was just like, people are clapping, telling me I did okay.
Did okay.
I want another beer. Not a good idea, but that's what I want, yeah. How long did you play with Ashes of Luna for?
Probably a little over a year is my guess.
Yeah. Hired or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, I pretty much wasn't doing anything that wasn't a hired gig after a while. Just like, I mean, there was a time I was just, there was a stage of, I just want to play.
Yeah.
And then there was, okay, I need to make money. Yeah. And then there was the, okay, I can't afford to not get paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was a weird spot.
Well, it's a different world, because when you're playing in bands like the Absurd, no one's hired.
Right.
It's just a band, and you know, whatever money we get, we split.
Right.
But definitely not. Yeah, we got a gig coming up, so now we'll hit up the drummer, or the, you know, whatever. It's the band life is very, very different from the gig life, and I kind of actually maybe as of a year or two ago started dipping my foot in the gig life. Yeah. Colin, our drummer, has always been in the gig life.
I mean, drummers are the first to go.
Drummers, fucking drummers, man.
I mean, God bless them.
God bless them. Well, and that's the thing, is I'm a drummer.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't understand that was
so desirable.
One of the most marketable things that I have going for me.
Yeah.
Because my first instrument was drums.
Okay.
And I never really got it. As soon as people learned that I was drumming, people were hitting me up about like, dude, what are your rates? Like, I'm like, rates? You want to pay me to do this? Like,
right.
Oh, cool. And
what a concept.
Yeah, it really works out. But it is such a different world. And part of me thinks the really kind of sad thing about bands now is there's not really an infrastructure for labels. Oh, yeah, we're going to give you $500,000 up front. You use that to go record the album. You use that to go on tour and stuff like that. So bands are kind of not in vogue anymore, you know? And that's kind of a shame because I think if you get a good unit that can stick together for years, man, it's the
evolution.
Exactly.
Glue.
It's the synergy and the group cohesion, you know? And I mean, power to independent producers. I fucking love the singular-minded, you know, songwriters, which is kind of like Neptvne. Right?
Yeah, at this point.
Have you done the band thing or not so much?
I have done the band thing. I mean, like, I guess part of my path has been realizing that I have the skill to do kind of whatever most people want to do.
Yeah.
But that I tend to not align on visions.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I guess my visions are often diverse enough that I can't keep a crew on board with me. So it's like, I mean, if I'm playing in a band, I feel like I'm getting dragged along. If I'm like trying to lead a band, I feel like I can't keep people with me. And so that kind of got me into the hired gun or bust game.
Yeah.
And I mean, the hired gun game treated me well for a while, and it also just like burned out.
It's a grind, man. I mean, it's a hard grind too.
Bro, I did it for a couple of years, and God, I just got a flashback to there was one point in 2016.
Yeah.
There was this girl that I met at a show, and we hit it off, and we're talking online for a bit.
Yeah.
And it comes a point trying to set a date. I look at my calendar, and I don't have a free night for over 3 weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, I did not get that date, bro. I was just like, wow.
Oh, it's for the love of music.
Right. It literally is. It literally is. I mean, I was making dirt at the time, but like...
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, man. That's why it's such a slog and a grind is because a lot of the gigs you end up picking up, you're like, look, man, if you can just pay me $50 or $100,
right.
You know, which is not fair for anybody, but... The band doesn't have that much money.
Exactly.
You don't have that much money, so you're willing to accept the money. They're willing to pay what little they have, you know, and it's a shitty situation for a lot of people. Yeah. It's tough, man. So now, are you still doing the gig shit, or?
I mean, I'm still playing with Estrina, and that's awesome.
There's not many gigs going on. So
true.
There's that.
True. Yeah. I mean, I did go on a very ill-advised tour earlier this year.
Oh, good.
In all of this.
Glad to hear it. Yeah. What was that like? I mean, not glad to hear it.
I mean, like...
I take it seriously.
I mean, it was like being stranded at sea, bro. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it was just issues with the crew I was with.
Oh.
I mean, basically, the way I got roped into this was like, originally the tour was planned for April. Mid-March, it becomes apparent that's not happening.
Oh, okay.
And other people on the tour, including like the kind of social ringleader of it, are like big pandemic deniers and are like, oh, this will blow over by May.
Like hoaxers?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Real cool. And like they were like stomping their feet like, we got to do it in June. And I was like, there's no fucking way June's going to happen. I'm like, in March, I was like, the absolute earliest that anything will resume some form of normalcy is August. Like, dude, absolute earliest.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that because my friends were all calling me nuts when I was just like, this is going to be months. They're like, no, 2 weeks, man. I'm like, not a fucking chance.
Right. And the thing is, I was one of 9 people making decisions for that tour. And I was one of 2 people on the team of this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was the only person college educated. So I was kind of like gaslit into thinking it would be a good idea. And like I kind of swallowed my own instincts, which is a major lesson of like, I can't listen to other people over myself.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, because you understand that principle, it's funny. Once you learn that lesson, you actually learn your own fallibility. And so you're like, well, sometimes I'm not always right, which means sometimes other people are right.
And when it's 8 against 1, I guess I'm probably not right. Let's go ahead and do it in July.
It's a tough decision to make.
Like, bro, I mean, I actually wound up getting corona.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I got it like
Really?
as the tour was ending. Yeah.
Holy shit. What was it like? Was it mild or?
I mean, it was no worse than a regular flu for me, except for the sheer existential terror of infecting other people.
Yeah.
Like that was truly fucking terrifying because I got it like I was coming down with a fever the day before we were supposed to return the van.
Oh God.
Right. And I was like, okay, we're in Virginia. We're returning the van in Philadelphia. I haven't booked a flight home yet.
Yeah.
And I'm coming down with a fever. I have constriction in my throat and chest, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is probably it.
Yeah.
And
when was it again?
this is July.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's in the middle of it.
Right.
That's when everyone's losing their damn minds.
I know.
Yeah.
And like I was I fought, but I was ignored, and like
I mean,
I
hey,
listened
man.
to other people over myself, and that's what I get. So
Hey, lesson learned.
right.
Yeah.
So there was this whole dilemma of like I'm not trying to go on a plane while I'm
Sick.
like coming up with this sickness.
Yeah.
And like I'm in fucking Virginia, so it's like I was just like calling my mom, like, Mom, what the fuck do I do?
Do I just hunker down here?
Right. I was like literally just like, do I just like get a hotel while I wait for test results that are gonna take over a week? Is that what I do?
Well, and then if you got it, 2 more weeks.
Right.
You know, yeah.
And so I mean I'm fortunate enough to have an uncle in the area that could take me in.
Oh, cool.
Right.
That's luck.
Right.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like it was dummy lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so God bless my Uncle Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Right?
Come on, man.
A real man. Yeah. Cause it's
That's
just
wild.
Yeah, dude. So.
I didn't know that. Actually, one of the last people I had on the if you're going whiskey, I'm going whiskey.
I'm going whiskey.
Please.
Pour yourself a glass.
All right. Won't say no. And I don't
go.
tend to go light. Because why would you? The world has gone nuts, and
And here we are.
I don't plan to be super sober for it.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Haven't had Jack in a minute. One of the last people I had on the podcast, actually, there was like a week where I did like 6 guests in 1 week.
Damn.
Yeah, and then I was like
Burnt out.
not even burnt out. I just I suck. I'm shit at editing, man. I'm just not good, and like it's tedious, and it's really not even that bad. It's match up some audio to some video. It's not that hard. It's
just hard enough.
It's hard enough. It takes a couple hours, you know. And so by one of the last people, I mean, you know, I've spaced them out like, you know, a week or 2 apart, and so this was a month and a half ago. All that is to say, I don't mean to worry you or anything, but he ended up getting coronavirus after, probably a week or 2 after. And he texted me. He's like, hey, man, just to let you know I got it. I'm like,
Fuck.
should I worry? Or,
Right.
you know, he's like, I mean, you know, I'm all good, you know, tested and whatnot. But he said, I lost my sense of smell for a week, and it was basically the flu. I think for young people, it's okay. It's mostly the transmission to other people,
Right.
You know, and
That's the real danger.
because the vulnerable groups are not having a good time with it.
Right. Like, yeah.
They're having a bad time, a
Straight up
bad
none.
go of things, you know. So it's tough, man. But yeah, so what did you end up doing? You had an uncle who could put you up, and
Yeah, I stayed there for a little over a week.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was thankful enough to I had my own room there and was able to just kind of keep mostly to myself.
Yeah.
If I was hanging out with them, it was mask on or outside.
Huh. Yeah.
And eventually from there flew to Florida.
Yeah.
Um,
Flew to Florida.
I know.
Oh!
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm from originally, if you didn't know.
I didn't. I was actually.
no.
I'm sure I did actually, because I remember talking about that at some point. But where are you from in Florida?
Tampa, basically.
Okay. Yeah. That's a fucking crazy state.
It is. It absolutely is. Like, I hate that place. I love that place.
I feel the same way. Well, I'm from Michigan, and where you go in the winter is Florida.
Yeah.
It's just the most convenient.
I
Warm
literally
spot.
have an aunt from Michigan that is now married to my uncle in Florida. So
Yes.
like,
Yeah. No, that's where all the Michiganders go. Michiganders, by the way.
Michiganders.
Yeah, that's what people from Michigan are called. Yeah.
Gander.
Not the proudest part of me, but I've been all over that state, Tampa, many times. Do you know an island called Cayo Costa?
No.
So it's it's sort of down. So Naples is down towards sort of the southern tip, and a little further south of that, there's Cape something. It's one of those communities, kind of sort of like Naples, where they've got canals sort of running through the the suburb or whatever. It's a total retirement community.
Yeah.
So my buddy's grandparents live there. They retired there. They're from Michigan. And they retired there, and there's an island about 2 or 3 hours by boat off the coast. No electricity. Campground with some of the weirdest foliage I've ever seen. It's like an Avatar movie. So, you just go there and take a bunch of acid.
Like you do. It's good American citizen.
So awesome, dude. It is so much fun. But otherwise, Florida is nuts. Fort Lauderdale is insane. Tampa's insane. Miami smells like fish, but otherwise it's pretty fun.
Orlando's
all of Florida is so touristy that it's kind of hard to enjoy. But I mean, there is a lot of good about it. There's also a lot of shit.
There's a lot of shit, especially the further north you go, the shittier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When did you move out?
2010.
Okay. Yeah. So 10 years. So you've been in LA?
I've been in LA 10 years.
Okay. Yeah. Did you came to LA for music?
Essentially. I also went to USC.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
What'd you study?
Business and studio jazz guitar.
Oh man, that's actually a cool combination.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped out of the guitar program because I hated the jazz culture so much I couldn't do it.
Why? Because they're annoying snobs?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, God, there was one point I was in a class called Trio, and Trio is basically like I think it was like 5 guitar players in the class that took turns playing with a session bassist and drummer for the day.
Right.
And either playing a standard or bring in your own arrangement, whatever. And there was one week where we were just like, bring in whatever you want.
Okay.
And so I was working
bring in
on
Nirvana.
Math rock, actually. I brought in some shit with like 15, 16.
That
and
must have
like,
made those guys super happy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and like, again, it was like pretty frenetic paced and just like kind of off the wall composition wise.
Yeah.
And a lot of like weird rhythmic stuff. So I had to like kind of take it in segments for the session players and like warm them through it before we could run the whole thing.
Yeah.
And when I was done, the teacher, who was also the head of the guitar department, he was like, well, in terms of your charts and leading the ensemble, you did an excellent job. In terms of the music itself, I have nothing to say. And I was like, I need to leave this program.
Excuse me?
Right, like literally just like, because I'm not doing stale-ass 251s and treating it like it's 1955.
That's obnoxious.
Bro, I mean, it was, Like,
I've heard that shit is very stale, and I mean, so a lot of my good friends and friends who have gone to various different music programs, especially Berkeley grads. And Berkeley seems to be suffocating, in my opinion. I mean, I've never been, but everybody I knew who's been there, A, if they liked it, I'm just like, I don't really need to talk to you. And B, if they didn't like it, I'm like, tell me why. And they always have the same opinion. It's just like, dude, it's suffocating. I can't think in that environment. Like there's no... It's like a music program should be giving you the foundations and then fly, little bird, fly, But instead they're trying to... It's like, okay, I had a math program when I was younger. I was in like some advanced shit, and they said, okay, solve these problems, whatever, and you have to show your work, right? Which makes sense, so they know you're not cheating. Well, I showed my work and got the right answer, but I didn't do the work the right way.
Okay.
Which blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I got the right answer on every question, but I didn't do
the way they wanted
it done. Yeah. And it's like, well, what's the difference?
Right.
I know the way you want it done. It frustrates me. I mean, I can do it that way, I guess, but that's not how I want to do it. That's not how I did it.
Right.
I got the right fucking answer. They docked me like 20 points on one of my finals for that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, bro.
That sounds like that kind of thing, man. Well, You did. The arrangement's excellent. The way you conducted it, fantastic. Music sucks though. So
exactly, bro. Like that was the moment I was like, "This is the chair."
Hey, don't do that.
Kitty on the loose.
She's coming. Don't fuck with that.
But
because she understands me.
Don't fuck with that. Yeah, that's a threat.
Yeah. Hey, stop that. Come on.
Keep your pretty little face away from the equipment.
Get your cute little head out of there. There you go. Back to the box. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, and that coming from the chair of the department was like a wake-up call. Like, I do not belong here.
Oh, man, that's insane. Yeah.
Like, I mean, so I already felt like a black sheep, but
yes.
just by the nature of being more of a rock guy.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know you came from, like, a music-educated background, kind of. Did you have to audition for the program?
Yeah. It was pretty gnarly, to be honest.
I'm sure it was, dude. Yeah. I mean, those standards are not low for a school like that.
Yeah.
Did your parents play? How did you...
No.
How did you get into the more educated theory world?
I mean, being mostly self-taught at the beginning, I remember learning my first chords and being like, why is E minor, and why is E major, E major?
You just asked that question naturally.
Yeah. I was just like...
Told you he'd interrupt.
Sup, Josh?
Oh, let's get you on camera looking like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you look great.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Woke up.
What's up, buddy?
I hadn't slept in 2 days because I had my nose to the metaphorical grindstone, you see. Just, because I put so much gosh darn tender love and care into our band.
You smell like shit.
Well, I'm sure I do, dude.
That's an improvement from usual.
I just took a fucking hard nap. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I tried to
dare
wake.
You nap in your own home.
Unbelievable.
The audacity.
Dude, I'm sorry. Let me just get my food.
You mean this? You mean the studio?
Yes, the studio.
Oh yeah, that's my podcast studio, also known as my bar and my bedroom. I'm gonna nourish myself. Sorry.
Yes.
Speaking of, ladies and
Sweet
gentlemen, the
nourishment.
absurd. By the time this comes out, this won't matter. Never mind.
Like by the time that's,
You're awesome.
you're awesome.
Look at that. So much love.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, I didn't. So what's interesting? Okay, so to me, so you said right from the first time you played, you were like, well, what's the difference? Why is that an E minor versus an E major or whatever?
Right.
To me, I never asked that question until later. I started playing because I heard music in my head, and I need a tool
To get that out.
to get it out, exactly. And I didn't have a piano available.
Right.
I had my aunt, people from here would say aunt, which is actually probably a better way to say it.
I say aunt as well.
I say aunt, right? But aunt makes A-U-N-T.
Yeah.
Aunt. Really?
Right.
Aunt, whatever. She left a shitty classical acoustic, and I put some... nickel wound strings.
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
High rolling.
Why is this thing not ever in tune? Not intonated, never set up.
Right, of course not.
Low end kind of guitar. But that thing was laying around, so I just picked it up and started, learning some songs that I'd heard, and then, boom, now I can write the songs I heard. you know?
Yeah.
And I never questioned, I just always knew, okay, that doesn't sound right.
No.
I never really questioned why it doesn't sound right. I was just like, well, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to approach it from those different perspectives. And
Absolutely.
I wonder if that's is that a dichotomous thing in the music community? Like some people approach it from a more, I don't know what you would call it, nuts and bolts, mathematical perspective, and other people approach it from a primal,
Sure.
idiot perspective. Yeah.
I mean, there's, and in my opinion, the true greats have elements of both.
Yeah, they should. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I definitely have at times been mathematical to a fault. And,
Yes.
I mean, some of that is just the nature of my being.
Yeah. Well, you're always going to verge one way or the other.
Right, exactly.
Because the greats do have elements of both. But one thing I noticed a couple of years ago, when I was younger, people would try to make this argument and be like, dude, you got to learn some theory. And I'm like, fuck you. I hear what I hear, man. My ears, dude. And then I got a little older and I'm like, man, it'd be really nice to know the theory of this thing right now, because I'm just like putzing around on the fretboard being like, why doesn't this make sense? You know, like, it takes me, it's inefficient.
Right. Exactly. Efficiency argument for theory is massive.
Exactly. And similarly, I would think from people who are coming from the mathematical perspective, it's just like, why does this feel a little stale? Why does this feel, you know, like I like math rock actually. But it's because I come from an analytical, I studied science in college. So I'm naturally inclined to be able to put up with this stuff, you know, or like it. But coming from that perspective, you think like, okay, why do people constantly give me shit about, you know, the shit I'm writing? It's like, oh, because the soul kind of isn't there to some degree, you know? Like, it's hard to imbue the mathematical perspective with soul, and it's hard to imbue the soul is not the right
side.
Word. Yeah, right. Soul isn't the right word.
Right.
The primitive perspective.
Right, yeah.
And it's hard to get somebody coming from the primitive perspective to appreciate the mathematical side. You know?
Right.
I don't know why. But true musicians, I think, if you go at it long enough, you understand an appreciation for both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've dived deep enough that I no longer think about theory just because it's like, it's so ingrained.
I was going to say, it's ingrained in you, man. I'm jealous.
It's just the nature of, again, like how I learned, where there was a significant period of time where my brain was so far ahead of my dexterity. And so it's like I understood all the modes.
Oh, that's got to be frustrating.
I mean, I had to learn one way or another. And so it's like I couldn't, I mean, I was very like academically oriented when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I would be like in Spanish class reading about music theory, completely ignoring everything that was going on.
Similarly, I would be in a lot of classes reading a book.
Yeah.
I love literature. I love, I fucking love books. And all my classes, I would be there being like, yeah, this lecture is cool and everything, but this book has really got me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a good problem to have.
It really is. Yeah.
It was just like, I mean, I had this voracious appetite to learn as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Nirvana transcriptions in my freshman year of high school and being like, why the fuck doesn't this make sense within the like typical major or minor key format? And they use a lot of like borrowed chords and like a lot of just I've now literally taught students how to make sense of the way that they break and bend rules.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that's super interesting to me is going back to jazz.
Yeah.
I don't know what your perspective going into jazz was necessarily, or jazz education.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is kind of like when you think about it, your professor, who was also like the head of the department.
Right.
I mean, there's so many people like that, by the way. That's not an isolated incident.
No.
That's how they all are. Not all of them, but,
right, but
a lot of them.
By and large.
Exactly. You think about it, it's like, dude, where did the theory that you now know, where did that come from? It came from heroin-addicted crazy people.
Just like me.
That's where it came from, though.
Right.
The only reason this theory exists is because nut jobs came up with it because they spent all day, every day doing this one thing.
Right.
And experimenting and toying around and going, well, my ears actually like that, so let's put it down.
Right.
And then academics came along and they're like,
how can we ruin this?
That's a better way to put it, yeah. And I was thinking, like, how do we explain this? But yeah, how do we ruin this? You know? And there is a place for being able to explain it.
Right.
But once you start getting dogmatic about it, it starts being like, I don't give a shit about this anymore.
Right.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, there came a point where I hated playing guitar. And like that's real bad.
That's not where you want to be.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at like one of the technical peaks of my like,
Jameson or more Jack?
Jameson.
Good man.
And like the misalignment of spending all this time on music that I did not like at all was so bad.
Yeah, but at the same time, like as a musician, doesn't that kind of like I mean, isn't that like one of the better educations that you can get? Because one of the problems with a lot of musicians
They only do what they like.
They only do what they like. They never venture outside of that. And so one thing that's allowed me to kind of cross over into, I think I've always, like I said, I studied science. I, decent at math, whatever. I have always.
Sorry, I just remember the time you messed up a percentages thing.
Oh, that was terrible.
That was so funny.
That was terrible.
I was literally at a Target being like, I don't have the heart to respond to this.
Oh, you should.
Well, by the time I was ready to, you had like deleted the
I took
status.
it off, and then I put up another status that was
being like, I'm sorry, I should not do math.
No, because the truth is, I kind of suck at math, but what's weird is for somebody who isn't naturally a math guy, I've always been able to. I don't know what it is. I'm weirdly in the middle, but I'm definitely towards the side of not math, and that shit was embarrassing. And I actually had a few people message me and just be like, "It's all good, man, but like, you usually aren't that stupid." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, you're right. I'm usually not that stupid." And the truth is, I'm like, this is not an excuse. This is just what happened. I woke up hungover as fuck.
There we go.
And it was the first thing I haven't been on Facebook in any serious capacity in 4 months probably, and there's very good reason for that.
Oh yeah.
Because
it's Facebook.
It's a toxic goddamn environment, man. And dude, when we were growing up, it was not like that, and it became like that at some point. And man, I can't do it. And I've stopped kidding myself into thinking that I know that much about the world. You go on, and the whole point. Anyway, that was a Joe Biden move. Anyway, you know what it is. I'm saying. Whatever. I woke up.
Country.
Yes, I woke up. I was hungover as shit. I posted something, and then I tried to force myself to go on a run because I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to beat this hangover." It was a bad hangover too. It wasn't just like a fucking hang. It was like this is going to be an all day. One of those where you feel like the walls are just like,
I can feel that.
Yeah. And so I went on a run, and like 10 minutes in, I was just like, that was wildly incorrect. And I go check Facebook, and sure enough, like 5, 6, 10, 20 people were like, dude, you're way the fuck off the mark. And I'm like, I sure am. I'm taking that out. But at least I did put another status up, and I'm like, I shouldn't be doing math. Shouldn't be talking about things that I don't have any, authority talking about, and I did privately message a bunch of people, or they messaged me.
Right, yeah.
Whatever.
Own it. It's fine. Like, shit happens.
I'm not a huge math guy, but what I'm saying is I am at least decent at it, and I understood that because my weak spot was kind of, the more theory-driven stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I should look into this. And this is what I think more musicians should do.
Drink whiskey.
Jesus Christ, yeah. A little smoother than Jack, but I like them both.
Yeah.
Very, vanilla-y.
Yeah, I was thinking banana-y, but
it's like a vanilla extract kind of thing going on. It's just like a really sweet...
Jameson?
The Irish.
The fucking Irish. I say this as like I'm 1/3 Irish.
I was going to say, my middle name's Patrick, so...
Shout out to my cousin whose middle name is also Patrick.
Hell fucking yeah. I don't get these freckles from nowhere.
Hey.
But yeah, I really do. I wish that more musicians, wherever you're coming from, would understand that there's sort of another side that you're probably... Like, a lot of musicians in LA, especially in the East Side scene, it's very vibey, it's very scene, and that's cool. But understand that, man,
you're not the first to do this.
Not even close. And if you understood a little bit more about the sort of dichotomous opposite to you, it would only come as a benefit.
Right.
And it only comes as a benefit to... try to investigate things that you're not used to. And that's part of the reason I did science and math and shit, is because that's not... I'm good with words. I'm good with books. I'm good with, reading comprehension, blah, blah, blah. Math and science, it's a different thing. I do understand it, but, and so with music, go at it from both sides, man. You'll actually make something interesting. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't get that. Yeah.
I mean, there's one girl I've worked with that essentially takes pride in not knowing theory, and that blows my mind. I'm just like, it's just...
I wish I hadn't. Yes, there are a lot of people who do that, by the way.
Right, and
that is weird.
It's mind-numbing to me.
That doesn't make any sense. Well, to somebody like you, that would be just like...
Right, exactly.
To somebody like me, I'm like, that's annoying. I get it, but it's almost insecurity masked with like a smugness or arrogance. Like,
right. I don't need that.
You don't need it. Exactly.
Like,
yeah. I almost wish, though, I was going to say, because now I almost wanted to bring that fucking status up. I wish I had left it up so I could look back at how dumb as fuck that was. Like, it was like, dude, don't you get that, like, it wasn't even actually...
It's like 0.4% of something, or I don't remember.
It was 0.4 sounds about right.
Right.
Because it was like, well, if you do this, don't you realize the death rate from COVID is way lower than the flu or something?
Right.
That was essentially what it is.
Right. And I was like in a Target doing this math. I was at the same Target today. And I was like, bro.
I think some people, so I had a couple people who messaged me were like, dude, you got me. I had to sit there and make sure I knew the equation because I forgot to fucking divide by 100.
Right. Right.
So it came out as like 4% instead of 0.4 or whatever the fuck it was. Not a shining moment in my life. But then if you look through my social media history, not a lot of shining moments. It's a lot of like when I was younger, I think it's pretty innocent because everybody's on this thing. We're all just
being kids.
We're being kids and we're giving the internet and all of these companies all of our information for free, and we don't realize what we're doing. And then the algorithms switch, and now we're yelling at each other. We're not talking anymore. And maybe we never were, but at a certain point, it wasn't bleeding into the real world like it is now. You know, like, and that's what's really crazy is at a certain point, people in the real world started messaging me and being like, dude, you can't say that shit. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been on Facebook for 15 years.
Right.
What the fuck are you talking? This is the same thing I've always done. Well, man, you got to realize all these people are offended by it. I'm like, and then I look at the comments and people are, you know.
I mean, part of that is like, I have mixed feelings about both PC culture and the critiques of PC culture.
Sure.
And so that's something I think particularly in LA is a thing that like
LA it's a different beast.
Right.
It's not the same as the rest of the country, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I mean my instinct is like say what you need to say and just take the heat you get.
Well, and you're fortunate in having that instinct because my thing is say what you need to say. It's not even fuck the world, actually. It's say what you need to say and then engage tirelessly with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And that actually ends up doing you more harm than good because once you start trying to rationalize and explain and blah, blah, blah,
go down
blah,
the rabbit hole of you're never going to see on the same level.
And then 5 hours later,
right,
you walk away from the computer and go, oh, my God, that wasn't even real life. What the hell is going on? Like,
right.
You know, like... Somebody posted an article today about how we're all algorithms now, which I think is generally true, probably. It might have been Andrew Sullivan, who's a guy I don't agree with on a whole lot. We're all algorithms now because our behavior is all dictated by how algorithms respond to our behavior, basically. And algorithms all feed off of human behavior. So it's a hyperbolic point, right? We're not actually algorithms, but... we're all responding to the algorithms. The first time that someone messaged me and was like, dude, you can't say that, people are going to stop, you know, whatever.
Right.
The first time someone said that, I was just like, pfft. And then more people said that, and I was like, oh my God, this is real life. Everybody has decided that this is real, so it is. Reality is just what we decide reality is.
Right.
Which is not actually true. Reality is reality regardless, but like... when it comes to social media, if we all decide that this thing is very important...
it becomes very important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it isn't otherwise. But that's where we are.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the intersections of the virtual world and the regular world is really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, currently I'm making a point to live less dependent on the virtual world.
Good.
I'm really working on just like cutting back my social media time.
You were pretty engaged on Facebook. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you off that or less on
I'm
that?
significantly less. Like my current goal is under 1 hour of social media consumption today. I mean, per day on all platforms combined.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that's. I mean,
Which sounds sad.
right.
But that's good. That
Exactly.
would be very good.
Right. Like it sounds sad. And like my first goal was under 2 hours.
Jesus.
Right. I mean, bro. And
Yeah.
because, I mean, the 15 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
I was going to say the composite actually adds up to like, dude, you're on this shit like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Right. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, there's definitely an argument for you have to be at least X amount present to engage with the community, make yourself known,
Yes.
etc.
Well, especially if you're an artist.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's also the argument of diminishing returns.
Yes.
And of information overload,
Yep.
sapping your ability to function in other areas of life.
Yep.
And there would be times where, I mean, bro, like, I've literally had days where I've logged 14 hours on my phone.
Yeah.
And some of that just comes from the nature of what I do. Like, when I'm planning a tour and, like, whatever the fuck, like,
Well,
sure.
You have no choice. Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, like, at least 1 or 2 of those hours was totally recreational bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, honestly, probably more.
Yes.
And that's something where, like, I'm just trying to kind of reclaim my brain right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't posted anything
Reclaim
on
my
any
brain.
social media in a minute.
That's a good like song title, album title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, reclaim my brain. I mean, yeah, that sums it up for me, man. It's. I remember growing up reading these studies about how the average American watches X amount of hours of
Right.
TV,
5 hours was the classic.
which I thought I was never a TV watcher.
Me neither.
I was never.
I gave up early.
Well, sure. I mean, if there's a good show, dude. The thing is, I don't regularly watch TV though. I'm not just like a, what's the new thing coming out? If
Right.
something comes out that I think is good, I binge it. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I don't watch TV every day.
Yeah.
Not even close. I never have. When something good comes out, I go, all right,
Let's
we're
crank.
in fucking 4 seasons in one day. But so to me, I remember reading that stat and going, where do you find the time?
Right.
And now I feel like we've just shifted from TV to social media. So everybody's freaking out going, oh my God, it's this new thing. It's like, no.
It's a continuation of the same thing.
10, 15 years ago, it was exactly as bad. It was just TV instead of your phone.
Right.
It's the same shit.
But, I mean, I guess there's 2 significant differences that I would point out.
Yeah.
Pro and con.
Yeah.
Pro is that it's interactive as
Sure.
opposed to simply passive.
Yeah.
Con is that it's everywhere and you can't escape.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
Right. Because, like, can't watch the TV while you're driving the car.
Right.
Like, can't watch TV. I mean, you can watch TV while you're eating, but it's not as intrusive.
No,
as,
you're
like-
right. You're right.
So,
And you see people when they're eating you ever go into a restaurant, you see a family of people and they're all on their fucking phones and
Yeah.
you go,
dystopia.
like some fucking Blade Runner shit or like 1984. Like,
Right.
what are you guys doing? What are you doing?
Avoiding each other together.
Apparently. That's insane.
The great American pastime.
Jesus Christ, man. All right, I suppose we should take a break.
On that note, yeah.
Happy note. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine.
Definitely going to be. All right. Take a fucking break. Play some song. Whatever you choose to send me. Who cares?
Yeah. It'll be What It Could Be by Neptune and Hannah Bowers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's go into that, and we'll be back in a
Just
minute.
mixed a song for her the other day. By the way.
Hey. More on this in a minute.
You feel me battered on your shoulder, fucked up in the middle of October, blacked out, can't remember being sober. Deadbeat, I'm feeling like a zombie. Don't know how you could ever want me. No shame and you never really asked me what it could be.
You kept me living in a suitcase, crept in and taking all my headspace. My love is, I can't even think straight. I know what it could be. What it could be. Don't take it from me. You don't own me. You don't know what I mean. When it hurts, that you're worth it, and your words make me nervous. Them my wants and my dreams never once meant a thing. Never learned how to be alone. What it could be. What it could be. Don't take it from me. You don't own me. You don't know what I
No, not yet. But we can be, if you're ready.
I mean, I'm always ready.
Okay. Well, we're on again then. No, I'm saying I don't. You want to do the honors with the dick? You're welcome to. I don't. I think.
Cheers to our country and to
Oh, it's going well. We're killing it.
anything other than that. Yeah.
Jesus. Well, no, I was saying I think we may disagree on a lot of things, but when it comes to core principles, I don't think we necessarily do. Maybe we do. I'd be surprised though, because it's starting with a certain set of principles where I'm just like, look, I just want to be mostly left alone. From influence of law and authority. What's the best way to achieve that? I don't know, but I would imagine you probably want to be mostly left alone too.
In a lot of ways.
That's what I'm saying. And maybe we disagree in the ways that we want to be left alone or how it would be best that we want, But for the most part, I want to maximize freedom, brother. I want to maximize what I can do, while also understanding that restrictions are necessary because we need to protect the
most vulnerable in society,
people.
etc.
Exactly, yeah. And everybody is the most vulnerable at one time or the other.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, just because we're not the most vulnerable right now doesn't mean
we won't ever be.
Exactly. And so, to me, I think we can probably find a lot of common ground, despite probably disagreeing on some very obvious issues. But I also think that there are forces at work that are trying to divide people over things that I'm not going to say they don't matter altogether. I'm just going to say in the grand scheme of things, the things that we're arguing about as a country, as a planet, pale in comparison to the things that are actually important and we should actually be fucking arguing about. You know what I mean?
And what do you deem to be actually important? Take that bong rip. Take that bong rip. Let me
get back. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
You tell me what you think. What do you think?
What do I think is important? I think it is important to fight the rise of global authoritarianism. I think it is important to fight against corporate oligopoly. I think it is important to fight against environmental destruction. I think it is important to fight against abject poverty for the majority of a given population.
I don't think I disagree with any of those.
Hey, we out here. This is one of the few times I'm acknowledging the camera.
Come on,
we out. I forget that we're even on camera. I'm just out here.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So this is really us, for the record.
Yeah, actually. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
For all the dozen people that get this far.
Yeah, right. We took a break, we hung out, and there was the same fucking conversation.
Exactly. Literally, I wish that some of what was on camera wasn't, and some of what wasn't on camera was. And ultimately, none of it matters.
Yes.
Because nothing matters.
I agree.
That's the joke. Nothing matters, but everything matters. So,
Come on.
Come on. Hit the bong. Solve the world's problems in a podcast.
We did it, guys. Go back to sleep. Okay, so I think I agree with you on all those. I think it's a matter of priorities. So let's go with the salient one to me is climate. So I once again, to preface what I'm going to say, I agree with all of it. Nope, you're better at me than pot. I will become useless.
I will probably also become useless, but that's part of the fun.
Fair enough. So one of those things.
There you go.
Just hurts in these fiery times.
Oh God.
That's not bad actually. There's a good amount of water, some percolators in there.
Sure, but
so the climate change thing, right? I go, okay, I agree on all of those things. I agree that those are changes we have to make. I agree that those are things worth prioritizing. The question is a matter of priorities. Like what I think do you see as being the most important thing to take care of right now? And like, okay, if I had to be a single issue voter, climate change would not be my first thing right now. Overall, though, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Patently. But what I'm saying is in the immediate, we cannot figure out climate change until we figure out how to unify, because climate change is going to take unification to figure out. You know what I mean? So immediately, I'm just like, okay, what's the best path towards unifying everybody? That's never going to happen maybe, but how do we get the most people to come together, around issues that actually matter?
Yeah.
Around issues that you and I can both agree on, and maybe we disagree on
prioritization
extensions of those things.
Sure.
Exactly. But if we both agree on those things, to me, the main practical problem right now is that no one can fucking get along with one another, and no one can no one can talk, dude. I mean, it's amazing. A couple of years ago, sure, maybe I thought, oh my God, there's these sensitive people, and they're very sensitive, and snowflakes, and yeah, man. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to be tempted by sort of far right shit, where they just go, okay, the whole world is just looking out as a matter of, they look at it the same way the far left does. It's a matter of power and strength, and if you're weak, you're useless. It's like,
well, then I'm useless.
That's no way to have a society, is my point. People who are physically weak aren't necessarily mentally weak, and whatever. But to me, I don't know, man. I really think that I really think that we're not going to be able to address any of our priorities until we can actually talk to each other. Oh, that's what I was saying. A couple of years ago, it wasn't the case that every conversation I tried to have resulted in someone calling me a name or somebody else calling somebody else a name. Now we're so quick to
write people off.
Not only that, be kind of vicious to one another. Like it was not like that in any other time in my life. And I've been an awkward teenager and a weird.
I mean, the politics have become so much more polarized.
Yeah.
And that's
why?
something. Say what?
But why?
I mean, differences in the source of information play a major part in the formation of perspective.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that people that claim that the mainstream media are misrepresenting things also consume Fox News, which is the single biggest news company in the U.S.
Oh, so there's a new faction, as I've learned from my incredibly decrepit Twitter world.
Ah, yes.
There's a new faction of people who. So there was this like, all right, mainstream media, and then people who were like, mainstream media, but Fox News. And you're making a point that I've kind of always agreed with, which is that kind of the whole thing was bullshit.
Yeah.
What are you doing thinking?
It's a circus.
Exactly. And so now there's a faction of people who are like, oh, God, I hate mainstream media are liars and probably pedophiles or whatever the thing is now. Yeah.
Shout out QAnon.
It's
like,
sup.
Yeah.
Guys, you got to get out more. You just got to do anything else. So there's that.
Do anything else, please, for society's sake.
Learn knitting.
Oh my God. Like there's QAnon and then there's knitting.
At least the people who knit, look, they're a tight-knit community. But, yeah.
Well played.
Yeah, pretty bad. But at least, they don't proselytize it. I mean, yeah, QAnon's a weird one. Man, yeah, I don't know. And the problem is, it's sort of bled over into entertainment in a weird way. Like now, sports is all about it. Sports has, it doesn't matter which side you take. It's clear that before, yes, you'd have some ads in football games that are just like, taking a knee for God. Okay, whatever. But now, since Kaepernick, you have a lot of stuff happening since basically that moment.
Yeah.
And it's not only in sports, whereas so the sports as an institution before was just like, oh, we can come together and there's not really that there, so we can all just be like, oh, whatever, go fuckers, go bitches, like whatever. Who cares? Politics isn't a
My
part
two
of
favorite teams.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, it's there. It's in music and entertainment everywhere.
Yeah.
So where do we go to remember that that's not just the only part of being alive? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something else. There's something more important than all of that.
I mean, a lot of that is just going into your own experience of just your own being and the lessons you've learned.
Yeah.
I would argue that meditation is an answer to that, where that's never irrelevant.
Yeah. I meditated heavily for a while.
Nice. I've had my phases too.
Yeah.
And it comes and goes, and that's just part of the process.
Yeah.
But I actually went on a Vipassana meditation retreat. I did
you have
10
to be
days with a vow of silence and everything.
Oh, you did one?
Yeah.
So I got to, I could meditate for like a half hour, 45 minutes or whatever, and
which is still significant.
It was. I mean, I did it every day for like, I don't know, 9 months or something.
Yeah.
Like, which if there's people who do it longer. I'm not comparing myself to them, but like,
But that's significant as fuck.
it's significant. It's weird the kind of state of mind you get in. But I knew friends who did like a 3 or 5 day. You did a 10-day.
Yeah, bro.
10 days with no talking.
Yeah.
What the hell was that like?
A lot. Like, dude, okay. The first 3 days, I literally had a song that I wrote in my head about like a heartbreak situation playing in my head on repeat. And it was just so excruciating. But it was also a great song. And I realized that in the process. Like, it's still one of my, like, I mean, it's very subject to its genre.
So you got a song out of meditation?
No, so much as that. Well, I did get a song out of that. I actually, okay. So the
That's
song
cool.
I was talking about is called Wrong Tree, and that is one that, like, I wrote that was in my head for a while I was there.
Yeah.
I had already written it by the time I arrived, but it was still just very much with me and very much what I was living through at the time.
Yeah.
But then also I started writing a song called Giving Tree, and that one, I remember hearing the melody in my head and like wanting to write down these lyrics, but you're not allowed to write or have your phone or anything. Like so
did you just
it's
have to
very
repeat
strict.
it in your head a million times until you like wrote it?
Bro, I actually had a fucking pencil in my backpack or something, and I was writing on tissue paper, dude.
Oh,
I
nice.
was cheating like hell, but that song is among some of the greatest poetry I've ever written.
Nice.
And so it feels good to have encapsulated it. Even if it was breaking the rule, it still came through a very sensitive experience of not being able to express it.
Yeah, man. That's see, I kind of did it to like get out of dark spots.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like I don't know if that, did you do that? Is that how the song came about? Like I guess I did get some actually creative inspiration from that kind of stuff, cuz like when you take the time to actually put it all together, kind of escape but also engage at the same time, you're just like, oh shit, right. I remember why I'm here.
Right. Right. And when you spend 10 days,
That all was an excessively high thought, by the way.
absolutely. That's the nature of the beast, bro. Like, we're pretty deep. And meanwhile, I stare off into space.
Totally, man.
Bruh. Yeah, exactly. But, dude, 10 days is a long-ass time to not be any time at all.
Yeah, that's that sounds uncomfortable.
It definitely was. But at the same time, most growth comes through a form of discomfort.
Sure. So you put yourself in that position to grow or to
Fundamentally.
heal or yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that I think to compare. Did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
I mean,
Like-
I've seen episodes, but
Sure,
I never
like,
really watched it.
I
yeah.
was never. I
All
was
of my
pretty
friends
into
were
it,
into
not
it,
like
yeah.
super into it.
I
but,
was a Pokemon guy.
Oh, I was such a Pokemon
Yeah,
guy.
very-
Fuck, bro.
very
That
just-
was several years of my life down the drain. But I got a lot out of it. So fuck
yeah,
it.
yeah. I feel like I'm a better person because of it.
Something like that. But anyway, there's the concept in Dragon Ball Z of going into the hyperbolic time chamber. And that is a place where you experience time at a much faster rate than is actually happening in the world. So you can live thousands of years over the course of weeks is the dynamic.
That's insane.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that to me, being completely separate from the world, where I had no contact with anyone, really stilled the waters. And I could just check in with, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I come from.
Yeah, right.
I mean, dude, I had visions during this.
Well,
Dead sober.
meditation is kind of psychedelic, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you, I mean, dude, okay, so wait, I'm sorry.
Go.
how much of that time was all day, every day meditation? 10 straight days? Or do you do things?
You have
Play ping
meditation
pong with the other
and
meditators, but you can't say anything.
No, the vibe is very much, I mean, not only do you not speak, but you avoid communication of all forms.
So you can't even acknowledge the other people who are there?
Right, your job, when you're in the cafeteria, you go out of your way to avoid eye contact with people. You are very much in your own worlds. And as opposed to like passing the ladle to somebody, you would put the ladle back in its place and someone would pick it up. And hey, shout out the bottle opener, Dick.
Yeah, Dick bottle opener.
Yeah.
Mr. Dick bottle opener.
Bro, I just got a flashback to this one time on a fucking live stream. I wound up deep throating a banana. It was like,
what the hell inspired that? On a
being really, really hungry and just okay. So I was out of food entirely. I was on a live stream. It's like, fuck, I have to go to the corner store and get some eggs. And while I was there, I bought fruit. And I was cooking my eggs. And I was like, I'm so hungry. I need to eat this banana. And I was like, I'm going to eat a banana on live stream. I can't not acknowledge the phallic nature of this. And so I just like fooled around with like tonguing it type of thing. And it just progressed. And like, shout out to anybody that was there to witness it, including my aunt. And like 3 different ladies on live stream all commented like, wow, I wish I could do that.
Oh, God. Mostly, though, shout out to Bananas.
Shout out to Bananas.
For making it all possible. That's excellent.
I can't believe this was on record, but yeah, fuck it. Like, and so, I don't know why that came up. But it was a fucking moment to live through.
It was the Dick bottle opener.
The Dick bottle opener,
the wooden
of course.
Dick bottle opener from Bali. It's good luck. What in the hell were we talking about? Oh, meditation.
It doesn't matter.
Meditation, I remember.
There we go.
I got it. Okay, right. I was asking, do you, while you're not deep-throating bananas and harassing my dick, do you... Thank you. Did you spend... Right, okay, so you can't contact anybody, but how many hours a day did you meditate for 10 days straight?
I'd say I think it's average of 10 hours a day.
Jeez, so that's basically all day to me.
Right.
Because you got to spend a couple hours getting up.
Right.
Showering, eating, whatever you got to do.
Right, just
break
time,
shower.
yeah.
Do you shower on these retreats? That's good. Showers are good. Are they communal? They're not communal.
There's both. There's communal and private.
Too much interaction.
I mean, not really. It's just kind of limited capacity. I don't know. It's even in communal bathrooms, it's more communal than not having communal bathrooms for sure.
Do you regularly see other people and just have to ignore them?
Yeah.
Like the whole
That's totally the culture.
That's the weirdest part of it to me. Like meditating for that long, you're like, I'm on a personal pursuit. I'm gonna get what I want. That other shit is just like, while I'm in the middle of this journey. Sorry. Oh wait, sorry. No.
Right, but you don't talk to each other till the very
hand.
end.
Yeah.
Dude, the last day, after day 10, you can actually talk to each other. There's one evening, I think, that you can all talk with each other. And that was the time that I finally formed bonds with people that just kind of gravitationally happened, even if we weren't acknowledging it, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I actually met this guy who was, I think, the uncle or grandfather of Rivers Cuomo from Weezer.
Oh, yeah.
And he told me about that on the last. I was like,
he
oh,
sang
that's
something
kinda
about
cool.
a sweater.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
and
want
I
to
sold
destroy it.
Weezer sweaters at Coachella while Weezer was playing. So,
wait, so you got here 10 years ago, right?
yeah, 2010.
How did you get into... You went to music school out here. You decided the jazz thing wasn't good.
Yeah. No
So
way.
how did you get into the rock and roll shit, especially coming from your... Like,
I mean, I came from a
mathy-
rock background, but I was just a really educated rocker. Is the thing.
okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, I never fit in with jazz school in that regard. And for me, I was sold into jazz school is we use jazz to learn how to play everything else.
Yeah.
Which has a lot of deep validity to it
Yeah.
in terms of the flexibility of harmonic concepts and just your intuition with playing on a more educated
Right.
level. But at the same time,
Dude.
dude. But we use jazz to learn to play everything else. Doesn't apply when you don't play anything else. And that's what I had to learn the hard way is like I was cut off from a lot of things. And I was very much a black sheep in that culture. But
When
what
you were
were we
growing
talking
up, did you play? Did you,
blah.
ladies and gentlemen, did you spend hours a day playing music? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
From when I was about 14 on.
is that why hours a day of meditation aren't that weird to you? Because if you, I mean, that's a hell of a connection.
It is.
That's a leap. But you know,
But it's
if you're gonna do music,
same dimension, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like if you've ever spent like people who play guitar but aren't really guitarists,
Yeah.
sort of know it because they'll play maybe 2 hours here and there. You know, yeah, whatever. People who really want to get good at an instrument, you don't understand the time
It
like,
takes.
It's not a normal amount of time. Like if you
Right,
wanna
it is
just,
a lot of time.
If you want to live a normal life and like have kids and shit, you don't do this,
Right.
Because it's
intense.
it's 10 hours a day of this. I
Right.
forgot to pay my bills. I didn't even
Bro.
eat. Like
I can't have a date for 3 fucking weeks.
Exactly,
Like,
like-
yeah, bro.
And then people are like, "Man, how'd you get so good?" And it's like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
let me tell you of the pain."
Right? Dude, so much. I was such an angsty music school dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I wish I
weirdly
could go
related-
back and give my music school self a hug. Like, fuck, dude.
You know, I think one of the best
I'm going to
things.
cheers with the mic stand right now.
Oh, dude. One of the best things I think I've found out lately, and it's pathetic that it took me this long to figure it out.
Me when I learn anything.
Taking breaks is good.
Agreed.
I never, because I would just, you know, if you're doing something, you're obsessing about it, you're just kind of like, okay, like
I got to do it or I'm not doing anything.
everything else you do, in the back of your mind, you're just like,
I should be.
fucking piece of shit. You think you can just chill and play video games, or you, like
Right.
hang with your buddies? Like you got shit to do, man. And it's like, oh, well, that's exhausting. But then it's like
The slave driver, bro.
exactly. But if you're gonna be really good, I've found that like, dude, if you take breaks every now and then and actually reset your brain, you come back at it with a much less negative attitude.
Right.
So you get almost more bang for your buck. Like you take a break and you can go do something else. You can even be productive. You can pay a bill. You
Right.
can
Exactly.
something.
Do whatever the adult shit
Wash
is.
the dishes or whatever. Yeah. Like, you know, who are these?
Who are these
Oh,
hooligans?
hey.
Hey.
Look, it's you guys.
Hey.
You might,
Aw. Hey, good to see you, dude.
whoa.
Holy shit.
That's called an earthquake.
Ooh, that's kind of.
We got that on camera. Fuck. Like,
Is it still going?
it is still going.
Maybe we should go outside
I just came up the stairs.
or chill.
I don't know.
Stand in the same doorway.
Sorry, guys. That
Whoa.
was my fault.
That's pretty long, actually.
It's. I still feel it, or am I tripping?
No, I
No,
still
it's
feel
still
it.
going, bro.
So we should, what?
I literally don't know the procedure.
I think go outside or.
Fuck, man. We should be more educated than this. Like, we should know. We got it on camera. We're guilty. We're Californians that don't know what to do in an earthquake.
Have no idea what the procedure is.
There's a 2.5 in Central California today. That was 19 minutes ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The cat's not moving again, and she's not exactly. You good? What do you think? You guys are supposed to be on top of this shit.
Someone tell me what to do. I'm not from here.
Right? I love that this process is happening on camera. We're just accepting it.
Hey,
Whoever's made it this far in the episode deserves to see this side of us. Like,
for the record,
4.8
if you're thinking about moving to California to pursue your artistic
Be smarter
dreams,
than us.
Don't.
The best move is getting under a strong table or desk. If no sturdy object is available, get next to an interior wall with no windows.
Do the podcast under the table. I'll just adjust the camera for you.
Perfect. Part of me would be so down. Dude, that reminds me of one point I was recording vocals for my song Something in the Way, which is a Nirvana cover I did.
Something in the Way?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that song.
Bro, absolutely. One of my all-time favorites. I wanted to do that song since before I started playing guitar, and I can't believe it manifested as it did as Neptune. But anyway, I was literally huddled underneath a blanket with the condenser microphone just like this, like super duper close to the mic, and just like totally wigging on that mode.
You realize what we just got on camera? That is fucking podcast history right there.
Earthquake.
Because we just immediately went back into like, so anyway, like, but we definitely both were like,
what do we do?
I actually don't know the severity. Someone tell me if this is real.
Right?
Is the simulation broken again?
Dude, the simulation's been off the rails since at least 2016. Like, since then...
Before that, man. I think before that.
Sure, but that's when it became undeniable. Where it was just like, okay,
Maybe.
this is science fiction levels of bullshit.
Man. Dude, at some point when AIM, so my parents...
God, you're bringing up AIM, bro. We're old.
I don't know how old you are. I'm fucking 30.
All right, I'm 28. Yeah.
Same basic shit. So when AIM came out, I was, I don't know, what, 13 or something. My parents didn't let me get it. Yeah. So it gave me an interesting perspective because they kept me behind on everything that came out. I wasn't allowed video games, really. I wasn't allowed all the new social media. So I got like MySpace 3 years after everybody else got it, blah, blah, blah. You know, until I was old enough where they're just like, well,
didn't matter, yeah.
You're going to fuck your own life up. Have fun, you know?
Cheers.
I'll
drink to that, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like, which, yep. But having that perspective at least gave me the sense to be like you realize we're like the last generation to know what life was like.
The internet.
Not even like social media in particular, but the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything that came along with it. Like the last people to
Paradigm
really,
shift.
we were old enough to be like, when it happened, it's just like, okay, what's now there's some kind of superlatives on MySpace. What the hell is this shit?
Right.
But like before we just went outside and you know, fucking kicked a ball at each other. I mean, there's some games
The primitive era.
Yes, there's some games that you play when you're kids, man. They're not allowed to play dodgeball anymore, dude.
Damn.
Yeah, and you can't.
R.I.P. dodgeball.
Gotta pour one out.
Pour it up for dodgeball.
Dodgeball. I mean,
I'll drink to that, bro.
Yes, I will. I never know when you're drinking. Are you supposed to do that? Why do people
arbitrary.
Why do people do that? We cheersed. That was the symbolic.
Right.
This is just another. Oh, now we're part of the secret club. Like, right. We're the people who know how to cheers. We're the people who know how to cheers, dude. Like,
Cheers squared.
Cheers to the end. Come on,
Oh
man.
my God. We're so white.
Oh, man. Undeniably, dude.
Undeniably
Yeah,
white.
no. There's no way to run away from that. But that's the thing is you just
Own it.
You just go, man, I do not hate anybody of any race on the basis of their race. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to fucking. What is it? What is it?
Virtue
Soapbox?
signal?
Yeah, or whatever.
Right?
Yeah. So I have the mic, and so I'll say. But it's just true. Like I don't. It's man. It seems to me that we're dividing into a place where everybody is more concerned with characteristics that you can't help. And to me, I'm just like I don't judge you for characteristics you can't help. You know, like really.
Like meet everybody where they're at.
Right. And it's not, it's just like what you're a certain kind of person, you know? I mean, but I'm not like.
It's hard sometimes.
Sometimes I guess, but I really don't think that way. I'm just taking you if I have no reason to believe that you're lying, I'm taking you seriously. But I also have a filter where I'm like, okay, well, I'm just talking to you like I'd talk to anybody is what I'm saying. I don't really take that shit into account. And it seems to me like a lot of stuff that's happening right now is like all about taking that shit into account kind of, and it's sort of, man, look, my diagnosis is dumb, maybe, but what I'm saying is we're inevitably in this position where we're like more divided than ever, and people are trying to point out maybe how those divisions came about and trying to solve it, and then both sides think they're trying to do that, and then other people from both sides keep being like, you're fucking wrong and you're making it worse, and it's like, we both agree that there's a problem though, right? Like,
right.
There's a problem, or maybe we don't, and that's what people from both sides think. And being somebody like me is weird because I'm genuinely just like, I want for everybody to have the same opportunity and not being bothered. That's mostly it. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, a lot of my progress in life I can view as correlation to understanding my white male privilege, where there's so many things I take for granted that just aren't applicable to so many people.
I think I agree with that. Okay, so what I agree with is like, part of understanding the world is understanding yourself, right? And if you do come from a background like mine, which is suburban, white, male, both parents are married, whatever. I am privileged. I mean, that does mean that, right? It is a luck of the draw. It's not something I control, but it's a benefit,
Yeah.
So I agree with that. And I think once you understand, but understanding yourself is part of understanding other people, You can't empathize with everybody, but part of understanding yourself and how it compares to other people's situations helps you be able to sympathize with other people, Because I couldn't put myself in the position of someone who's from like a way rich perspective or someone who's from a way poor perspective. I couldn't really, I'm sort of in the middle. So I'm just like, okay, understanding that and also understanding like what I get as a, benefit of that as it relates to other people who are from less privileged positions than me, sort of gives me the perspective to be able to kind of honestly talk about things. And I get that a lot of people disagree on how to do that, but I think I've met people, like I'm friends with some people who are from the upper crust bullshit, and I'm also friends with a lot more people who are from really lower crust stuff because my family, while middle class, was sort of lower,
Okay.
So I can't pretend to have lived any of those experiences, right? I cannot relate to anybody except for me. Except for I can relate to people in the sense that we all have a common humanity. So while I can't say that I've been through it, I can say, to the best of my understanding, I sympathize with your pain. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I've never felt it. You're right.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I'm sorry you felt it. Like, I genuinely, it's a weird, they call it empath, that thing. And it's like, I feel, if I care about, if I feel bad, or if you feel bad, I feel bad, Like, if this thing was, if you came over and you're just like, dude, I'm happy to do it, but I'd be like, well, man, what,
Why'd you come over?
Come on, bucko, and some people would see that as abrasive and aggressive, right? But what it really is me trying to
cheer you up,
awkwardly be like, come on,
right.
I cannot solve all your problems right now, but at least temporarily I can see like, but what do you come on.
But speaking of, dude, I'm
Yes.
super happy to be here. Like,
Undeniably, well, we've been meaning to do this forever.
right.
And
And
that's been my fault.
bro, it's just the nature of the beast. Like, I just watched an episode with, I forget the name of the songwriter, but he's the one that runs the weekly or monthly
Greg.
event. Greg.
Greg Gilman.
There we go. Yeah. I remember really liking that episode and just being like,
That
this
was
show
one of
is
the-
something I would love to be a part of.
That was one
And
of the best fucking episodes, man. And honestly, this has been one of my favorite to do. Right off the bat, right now, like I'm not even fucking hesitating to say that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And dude, to me, like, okay, so I'm back and forth. I'm just kind of like, man, it's supposed to be, it's fun, right, man? Like, it's just, I would love to give people like a platform to say things with whatever platform I have, but also it's just, it's fun.
It's just fun.
It's
and we're
fun.
completely winging this.
That's-
Like, there was no agenda coming into this.
That's what I mean.
right. It
And
just
so-
exists.
And so it's like, man, I'm between that, and people are like, well, why don't you post it here? Why don't you post it there? Why don't you do more? I'm like, I should. I get busy with shit that I have to do, though. And it's like, but also, man, it's just, I
mean-
wasn't an earthquake, folks. That was my foot. Not like anybody heard it. Yeah. You all forgot about the earthquake, didn't you? That was
we just witnessed that.
that was
bro.
a hell of an earthquake, by the way.
That was significant.
Man, when they're like 5 seconds, you're like, eh. That one was like, oh Jesus,
Right?
should
Is this the one?
Should we get towards the door? That's what I'm like. We go
Dude.
outside.
There was one time
I'm gonna look like such
back
a
when
pussy
I
on
was at USC. I was in one of the studios, and there was an earthquake while I was recording there, and like shit started falling off the walls, bro. And I was just alone in this room, like, oh my god, is this the big one?
Oh man. Well, they've been talking about the big one in this state forever.
Bro, like, it's gonna happen eventually. I don't know how bad it's gonna.
Are you
be.
thinking about getting out of LA? Are you gonna stay here?
I'm so ambivalent
Yeah.
because
No one can. I mean, just before you even answer, no one responds. For sure, I'm staying here. At least everybody is just like. Even the diehards, man, are just like, I really want
right.
to stay.
I'm kind of a diehard.
Yeah.
And at least during this Corona era, it's very tempting to leave.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I would be very tempted to live somewhere where the cost of living is cheaper.
Yeah.
While we're all just mostly doing online work anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Have you thought about anywhere?
I mean, the first move would probably just be to go back to Florida because that's where I've got a lot of roots.
Yeah.
But
Everybody's doing that though, right? Like everybody, man.
so many people are
I
emigrating.
get a text. I get maybe multiple texts a week, just being like, "Yo, man, we should get a beer because I'm
Down.
out."
Right. You got more friends than me, bro.
Well,
But,
no,
but yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the beast.
it's just people being like, "Yo,
It doesn't make sense to be here right now.
we're going." Yeah, and the only place they know to go is
Is
back home, which is I'm not even disparaging anybody
No.
for that. I don't think it's a coward's move at all. I actually think it might be a smart move. That said, not for me, but like at the same time, something's going on, man. I think it's kind of like when pets know the storm's coming,
Right.
and they freak out, and then 3 minutes later a fucking storm comes in.
The
These people
economic
don't know.
wave.
They don't know why they're fucking leaving, but they know something is coming, so they're going back to places of safety.
Yeah.
They're going back to where it's comfortable because we're all gonna need to band together if shit gets really rough. I think people are preparing for some shit,
Absolutely.
and I don't even think they know it.
I mean, we all feel it.
Everybody feels it. Yeah.
This era is defined by existential crisis.
Dude, what if it's just nothing? What if it's a year and a half from now? You're right. What if it's a year and a half from now and we're all just like, well, there's a fruit vendor outside, the bank's still taking my money. My job's okay, and the mechanic's not that expensive. Like, what if it's just... What? If you really take an absurdist existential perspective and you're just like, dude, I do care, but at the same time, if it was shitty, I would crack my ass up because it's just like,
Whatever.
life sucks. Life is suffering, right? Isn't that what Buddha or that's what Buddha said, right? Life is suffering. Buddha himself. Buddha himself. Buddha. He said that. He said life is suffering.
Please make it stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. You grew up next to Georgia.
It hits too close to home, bro.
But wouldn't, I mean, I don't know. I have hope. Are you optimistic?
In some regards.
Yeah. Which ones?
In regards to individual people's ability to make leaps in their own progress.
Yeah.
And how that can underpin a society's ability to do the same.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, okay, so let me tie this into earlier when I was like, dude, we may disagree on some things, but
everything. I hate you. Why are we here?
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Well, no. We agreed to a brawl after the podcast.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, okay. Perfect.
We'll take selfie with black eyes.
Battle Royale. We're not trying to kill each other.
That'll be on camera too. The bonus reel, yeah.
It's for the gram. But that's
Fuck
what I was.
each other up for the gram.
For the gram. Yo, stay healthy, fam.
Oh my god. Speaking of, do you want water?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll take some water. But what I was saying is, we might disagree on some things, but on the core principles, we agree. You just said basically like there are individuals in society who need to kind of be changed or realigned to, improve society. And if individuals change their minds, apparently that thing is starting to break. If individuals change their minds, society changes its minds, right?
Yeah.
So when I was like 18, 19, I had the same basic thought, maybe 22, 23 actually. I was like finishing college. And I thought, okay, because we were talking about what's it going to take to fix this shit, because we are in
deep shit.
Existentially we are knees deep into a shit pond. So what's it going to take to do it? And my buddy was like, well, revolution. And for a while I thought that. And then I thought every revolution that's happened, some were good, some were necessary, most
abject messes.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, no, dude, I think we're in the most tolerant society that's ever existed. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's got a lot of fucking problems. And that's the weird thing. Okay. So the weird thing about the culture war is the conversation is sort of shifted to where I feel the need to say that, but that's not really my emphasis. My emphasis is it's a culture where the most amount of diversity is allowed to flourish, and it's bad for a lot of historical reasons, but relative to the world, Hunter S. Thompson is one of my favorite journalists, if not my favorite journalist. He's quoted as, he's asked, do you love America? And he goes, well, I wouldn't say I love it, but it's the only country that allows me to exist as me. And that dude is fucking nuts and also smart as shit. And so I go, man, the current culture war doesn't seem, it seems to me like some predatory powers up top, and I don't know who they are. I'm not QAnon. I am not QAnon. And I don't even...
God bless.
I don't... Bless. And bless up.
Bless up, not QAnon.
Not QAnon. So
For
whatever,
real though, like
just as my own thinking, I don't understand the specifics, but it seems to me that some kind of forces way above are manipulating people below to be stupider than they actually are. That people are not this stupid, but everybody is falling into this trap of just like, I gotta fight you. Maybe it is because these algorithms are that nuts. There's an argument for that. But also it's just like, whatever it is.
It's fundamentally polarization.
But the question is how? how do things become this polarized?
Echo chambers online is
Yeah.
a major factor.
Can I get that dick?
You can get that dick all night, baby. But yeah, I mean, echo chambers are just a fundamental condition of being online.
Yeah.
And our existence, especially in this era, is fundamentally online.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh my God, what do you think about the next generation, dude?
I mean, it's going to be VR, bro.
Yeah.
That's the next. I don't know what it's going to look like exactly, but that's the logical next step.
No, yeah, I agree, man. Well, I mean, Musk says, a neural link fucking, what do you call it?
Shit's going to get real.
Implant, that's going to be real within the next 10 years or whatever, 5-10 years.
Even if he's off by 5-10 years.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and like Kurzweil, one of the smarter people to exist, also one of the more insane people to exist.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, dude, okay, so you got some things right, like really weirdly right, and that's why people listen to you. And also synthesizers, dope. Those are really nice. That's good job, man. Those sound good. But then your other shit about bringing your dad back and the what do you call it? Singularity is gonna happen by 60, 50, something like that. Tomorrow is basically what he's saying.
Right.
He's just like, dude, it's happening now. Everybody prepare, buy a survival pack. There is no surviving, by the way. Just like
Be prepared to not survive.
what the fuck is your solution, dude? You just constantly keep going on about how this is gonna happen. It's like, well, give me if you're the only guy on planet Earth who understands that this is gonna happen,
You gotta be more prepared, bro.
give me a roadmap, man. Like, what are
Right.
your best guesses? Your best guesses are better than ours. We don't know about this shit. Oh my God, there's a black hole coming for all. Like,
Bro, remember the 2012 scare?
what?
Of, like the apocalypse of
Oh.
2012?
Yeah, the Mayans.
Yeah, the Mayans.
Yeah.
Bro, I held an apocalypse party at my fucking mom's house.
Good man.
It was a fucking vibe, dude. In Florida. Like, I forget where the fuck my mom was, but it was also my friend Mike's birthday. And Mike was turning 21 that night.
Yeah.
And he wound up leaving a forehead-sized hole in the wall of the stairwell of my mom's place. And I covered it up with a fucking Christmas decoration of Frosty the Snowman. Like, until I could, like, patch up the wall shittily myself, like, terribly. I was, like, I don't know, like, 20-something at the time, like, 21, whatever.
Oh
I
my
was just
God.
like, whatever, we're gonna spackle the shit and pretend it doesn't exist.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. She literally didn't notice it until, like, a decade later, so I did my job, but, like...
Jesus.
Right. But that's being a kid for you. So,
Where do we go, man? How do we
the apocalypse.
How do we get good? How do we get good again? How do we recover?
Good fucking question. I ask myself every day.
We all want to, though, right? Like, I worry that some people don't want to, man. They're very motivated by hate, and I that freaks me out, man. I think some people are motivated to destroy. Like, I'm motivated to destroy creatively, you see.
Destroy that album.
Yo, you fucking killed that mix, brother.
Ozone 9.
Fuck up your mixing enemies. Yeah.
Some nerdy shit right now, bro, but we in it.
We in it. We
in it,
in
bro.
here, dude. Got that water. Cheers. Well, I guess we should wrap up. I don't really want to, though, is the thing.
I'm kind of coasting.
Yeah. All right. Well, fuck it. Sorry.
Give the dick the spotlight. Yeah.
Continuity errors.
Full frontal.
Okay, so where do we go, man? Okay, so I think I am maybe perhaps a foolish optimist, but I am an optimist. I think that we can consistently work towards a more harmonious world where we all get along.
This shit you over here. Hey.
Towards a more consistent, a world where we get along a little bit better, generation by generation or whatever. Believing that and seeing what's happening now, it's like, that's my disposition just by who I am. But seeing what's happening now is driving me into a position of just like, dude, I am having to fight off feelings of pessimism a lot more than I ever had to. Like,
this era is insane.
what is going on?
I mean,
Like, what's actually going on?
the simulation's off the rails. I've been on this train since, I'd say, 2015, 2016. Just...
That's what I mean. Fucking what the hell is going on?
This is the end of days.
Oh my God.
Bro, I saw some meme saying that, like, basically Trump arguing that if Biden wins, it's the apocalypse.
It's the
Meanwhile,
end
it's the
of
book
days.
of Revelations outside,
Yep.
and Trump is president.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have such a push-pull with Christianity, bro. It's a weird thing.
So I'll say on that one, I was a new atheist for a while. Four
New
Horsemen.
atheist. What specificity is that?
It was a basically, the Four Horsemen, the Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, Daniel Dennett, and Richard Dawkins.
I've heard most of those names, but I don't know their work.
Good for you. I mean, seriously, it was this movement about atheism is rooted in science, and science is great, and atheism also.
It's therefore great. Yeah.
Also, we know for
Yeah.
sure, like, we can prove that, and it's like,
That's
actually,
blind.
they didn't really say they could prove, but they said everything up to the point that they can prove. Like,
Right.
for sure, there's no God, and this is all a bullshit scam, and it's like,
There's something there.
okay, yeah, well, I was on that train for a while, and then eventually, like, I studied philosophy, and was just kind of like, well, how do you define God? If you define God as that thing you'd be willing to die for instance, or that thing you think is truth, if you define God as truth, actually, whatever it is, again, I like to frame it in that thing you'd be willing to die for. The thing, the framing being, you live for something beyond yourself, right? Doesn't have to be God, but it doesn't matter what God is. God is just defined as the thing that is above
Greater
you
than yourself.
in terms of your priorities. The only things you'd be willing to die for. Some people say family, some people say my art, some people say my
Right.
beliefs, my whatever. But it's that it's your belief system, basically.
Yeah.
So it strikes me that, like, the atheism train that I was on was just kind of like,
Nothing.
exactly,
Yeah.
which is weird. And so now
I've
just kinda
witnessed
like,
it over and over. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never dabbled in atheism. It's a weird world.
Yeah.
Assholes over there.
I mean, I guess I was always more agnostic
Yeah.
at my arguably darkest hours.
Sure.
But at the same time, because I was never on board with the assertion of the negative.
Yeah, right.
And that is something where I feel like the hardcore atheist argument kind of gets itself in a bind of basically the carte blanche declaration of there is a God is invalid,
Yeah.
but also the carte blanche declaration that there isn't a God
Yeah.
is invalid.
Yeah.
And kind of being blindsided by that.
Yeah. It's an odd, I mean, it's odd that, it's culturally what's weird is when I knew, okay, so I always used to be like firmly on the left because, the traditional concept of God is a little infantilizing, don't you? Like, I'm not that stupid. Oh, yeah, there's a guy up there going. But when you think into the actual philosophical concept of God, you go, okay,
There's something there.
Absolutely. But again, once you understand that some people, and I feel like the secular humanist and atheist crowds are like, oh yeah, it's a spiritual thing, it's the soul, and they reject the concept of those things. But I kind of accept the concept of those things because they're a little bit more than poetic concepts, but they're a little bit less than scientific concepts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're philosophic concepts. They're things that explain the human condition. They're actually artistic concepts too. When you're trying to talk about humans in any form of art, you're unfortunately going to have to address the soul, their view on God and life, their sort of immaterial being. You're not just, except for when you write a song about, I wanna fuck, but I put it in better words than that. Like,
I literally have a song that like says I wanna fuck you again. Like literally just like, oh, bro, there's a song Lust on my upcoming record. Fuck, dude.
What's it called?
7 Deadly Sins.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of my favorite albums growing up was called 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh, who made it?
Joe Jackson.
Not familiar.
Yeah. You wouldn't be, man. It was a guy my dad was into. He's a British guy from the 80s, early 80s.
Okay.
And he extended his career through I think he still works. Started with the, Elvis Costello form of 50s revival, 80s shit.
Okay.
Kind of went off into some jazzy shit, always very pop oriented. And then he just went off and did, symphonic shit. And
Hey, kitty.
she can't be stopped. And then did, pure symphonic shit, which is 7 Deadly Sins and a bunch of other stuff. And he's a really interesting dude, but I don't remember why I was talking about him.
I mean, 7 Deadly Sins came up. And,
That's true.
Like,
if
he did like classical type stuff, did you say to it?
He did, it was like more classical arrangements. Like he used, I don't know, all the classical instruments. Like
Okay,
it wasn't like a rock arrangement.
Right. Meanwhile, my record's like metal as fuck in some ways, which I'm like pretty ambivalent about, but also just like so stoked about, bro.
Did you record it yourself or?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's not. I mean, I haven't recorded everything to the final draft, but it's all written and recorded to some regard, and it's a matter of like polishing, enhancing.
What do you think about the future of the music industry, man? I mean, because it's like, okay, now people can just record themselves if they want, and it takes some practice, but like,
It's fundamentally accessible.
yeah,
with the
exactly.
variable of
Most
time.
people who listen to music are not listening to be like, the hi-hat sits very well within those guitars and balances well with the bass.
But at the
Like,
same time,
they're
they're influenced by it.
absolutely.
And if it doesn't sound good, it just doesn't sound good.
Absolutely. But it's like what I'm saying
Diminishing
is
returns.
No, what I'm saying is it's now easier for creators to appeal to people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because it's easier, more people are jumping into the game, which makes it more saturated and
Therefore, harder to break the noise.
yeah.
And yeah.
And also no one can perform live, which is
That's something that I take pride in, bro. Like,
Yeah.
dude, so many fucking rappers rely on lead vocal backing tracks and
Yeah.
don't pull off their shit live.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm just going to call it out. Like, I saw Rich the Kid play the Will Turn. I was working the Will Turn at the time. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but fuck it. Rich the Kid's show was lame as fuck, and everybody on the bill was lame as fuck because they were literally all just their own hype man,
Yeah.
not actually performing any of the parts.
Yeah.
And, like, sure, there's moments of just, like, celebration with the song. You don't have to be necessarily in technical performance mode the whole time to have an effective show.
Right.
And backing track usage can be very effective and necessary. That's cool, even for lead vocals at times.
Yeah.
But when you're not even, like, having your mouth on the mic for the majority of the show, and you're literally just jumping around, to me, it just felt so hollow, which is also, they way undersold that show. Like, way undersold it. So anyway.
Was he fucked up?
I didn't care to notice whether he was or wasn't.
Yeah. I'm not saying that justifies it, but I'm just saying, like, if that's what happened, you know.
No, it's just the nature of the show.
Yeah.
Which might be dependent on whether or not they're fucked up or not, but I won't like hazard a guess on that.
Yeah, whatever.
Right. But honestly, that was one of the more like disappointing, like large-ish scaled shows I've seen of just like, wow, this is not hitting right now, at least for me.
That's interesting, man. I think I've been to
I shouldn't have said the name, but fuck it. Like,
no, it's great. I mean, why not be honest, man? I mean,
because like technically I'm whatever. I mean, it's just like I don't know if my like Live Nation contract has anything to say about what I just said, but like fuck it.
Well,
I mean, I'm not trying to work for them anyway. So, like,
yeah, I mean, hey,
I'm so glad to be self-employed entirely at this point.
Yeah.
It's ebbed and flowed because when I quit being a full-time session musician, I took a job with Live Nation, which was a good step and also a good lesson in that I fundamentally want to work for myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean,
I've worked for a lot of bosses. I can't stand it, man. I don't even hate the bosses necessarily.
It's just the fundamental power structure.
This thing is not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. I just can't do this.
I know. I feel conflicted in saying the same thing, but I drive a lot of value from my autonomy, and being able to define my own structure is fundamental to my way of life.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm so grateful to have a skill set that I can be fully self-employed.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that...
I mean, that is well, I wouldn't say invaluable skill, but an extremely valuable skill. And, a fortunate position. But, hey, you've been working for yourself for...
a minute.
a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is... it's
a
becoming...
grind.
It's a grind, but it's also becoming a sort of I don't know. It's becoming sort of disparaged, in that, like, a lot of people are like, well, I don't know. It feels like there's a movement against it. I don't know.
I don't know if there's a movement against it so much as that society since at least the 1950s has been leaning against it. And that's kind of the default we've accepted. But... I mean, I've had people criticize me of like, oh, go get a job. And it's like, bitch, if you can live without a job earning your shit for yourself, I'd rather make my job than take a job.
Isn't that a job?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, bro, like, I literally posted I forget the exact expression, but it was something protesting the wall.
Yeah.
And someone commented, like some rando on Instagram that like, I don't know how they found me type of thing. Commented like, go get a job, you hippie type of thing. And it's just like, bro, I make my own shit.
Yeah, I don't.
But it's an LA thing too, especially nobody here has a full-time job. It's a joke.
Yes. I mean, but I don't know how anyone, the odd thing is to me that anyone could insult anybody else on that basis. Like, bitch, get a job. It's like,
I mean, suck a dick for capitalism is basically what that's saying.
Man, like, no, man, I'm cool with capitalism. I just, you know what I'm not cool with? People telling me what to do. That's really what it is. I don't give a fuck what the hell the system is. Give me the system that involves the least number of people telling me what the fuck to do. And when I got people being like, blah, 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 I'm just like...
Wah, wah, wah,
yeah,
wah,
exactly.
wah, wah,
The
wah.
fucking Charlie Brown teacher. Like, yeah, okay. Shut up, man. I don't... I'm alive and I have money in the bank. What are you going to do about it? Like,
right.
I pay my fucking taxes because I have to.
Hey, man, if you're good at accounting, you can save a lot.
Yeah, that's why rich people do well. They can afford to pay someone to just fucking manage their... and everyone's like, they're cheating. I'm like, no, they earned their way to that position. That seems nice.
yes and no.
Well, yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a certain
I
amount
don't mean all of them who are there earned their way there.
Right.
No, hell no. Yeah.
Exactly.
But if you did, there's a reason that rich people use this process. It's
Yeah.
weird that we... Like, look, I understand chip on the shoulder. I understand blue collar. I understand its disdain towards the upper class, right? But the upper class, in some sense, represents, to a lot of people, what you could get if you worked really hard. And I know that there's so many problems with just that one thing to a lot of people, right? But all I'm saying is, like, whether or not it's right, a lot of people believe in this thing.
American dream
Yes.
concept.
Yes. And to me, I go, okay, fundamentally, you have to believe in that. You can call it the American dream. You can call it eudaimonia. You can call it, whatever you want. You have to believe, Nirvana. You have to believe
In something.
exactly. Actually, yes, precisely. Yes, you have to believe in something. Everything else is nihilism, and nihilism,
There's a void.
dude. Nihilism led the 20th century to go fucking nuts. They were all just like, God's not real objectively. Let's kill each other. Like. It would be much better if everyone agreed that there was something we were trying to live for, and we get in minor wars here and there.
Minor wars.
Tiffs.
Oh my God, bro.
But nothing compared to World War I, World War II, fucking
Please.
Civil War, blah, 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 all these things.
Blobbity blah.
Yeah.
Millions of deaths.
Yeah. No, millions of deaths. But what I'm
Right.
saying is, in between those horrible wars, there's a lot of wars.
Squabble
constant.
wars.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you.
So what I'm saying is, these people are just like, okay, if people would just be like, yes, I mean, we're going to have to deal with war, but we should seek to eliminate it. It's just that realistically it's not going to go away tomorrow. Then it's like, okay, we can all agree. We're, you got the left being like, yeah, brr.
That's the best. How is that so left?
I was going to do this.
Like, I'm left as fuck, and that was just the feeling encapsulated.
Well, there's a weird, okay, so the left doesn't know
Anything.
they don't.
I say that as a leftist.
They don't know who to get behind. And the right is at least split behind Trump and whatever the hell the neoconservative position. Trump is just an old school Democrat who regularly puts his foot in his mouth and is just like, this is actually where my foot lives.
That's honestly a generous interpretation.
It's pretty, maybe. But at the same time, the left is having problems because I have not met any enthusiastic Biden supporters. I haven't met one. Anybody who's voting for Biden is just like,
Begrudging.
I gotta, and maybe they're right, because this election might come down to A versus B. There is no viable third party option. If you don't vote, well, I guess that's
Suck
a
a
way
dick.
to do it. Yeah, but just because you abstain from playing the game does not mean that other people don't continue to play the fucking game.
Right.
You just gave them more power.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're in a really weird position, man, but I do not blame anyone for being like, no, I got to sit this out. Like, I'm just saying, like, please don't. Please at least vote your conscience.
Right.
Understand that it's not a decision between A, B, and C. C doesn't really exist. Vote A or B, man. Like,
I mean, there are certain situations where I could make an argument for voting third party. But
Oh,
that
I've voted third
largely-
party.
Okay. I generally
You wouldn't like
haven't.
who it was, but
Sure. Doesn't matter. I mean, it does. I'm curious, but it doesn't matter.
Gary Johnson.
Okay.
But that was a 2012 second Obama term, right? I voted Obama the first time and then Gary Johnson the second time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which didn't do anything except for distract votes from probably parties who could have used it.
Yeah. But in a state where the result is essentially a given,
Man, that's frustrating.
then third party actually utilitarian wise makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because if we can get any third party to the 10% threshold, I literally don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Because just
Well, you should-
having a third
care
pony
a
in the
little bit,
race
care
on
a
a
little
real
bit, yeah.
scale.
If they're-
Well, sure. I mean, but like we've already got Trump in office. What the fuck else matters in terms of like the red zone? Bro, we're already in the red zone. Like these are legitimately apocalyptic times and we are bringing it upon ourselves as a society. So
I might call them pre-apocalyptic times. Because so far, it's...
sure, but I'm just seeing, I've got the 2020 vision, bro.
Oh,
like,
dude.
it's just,
Did
I've
you
read
watch...
books about this shit. It's
Oh,
just-
yeah. Did you watch Game of Thrones at all?
I've literally seen precisely one episode.
I'm actually happy for you. I watched all of them. I mean, I am. Because by the time you get to the end, you're like...
Oh, everybody hated the end. I'm so sorry.
Because it sucked.
Right, like, that's
just-
such a boner killer,
Like
bro.
legitimately, it was just like, what the fuck? Like,
They just slammed the brakes or some shit.
I don't
Like,
know what happened. I guess that's the point where they George R.R. Martin hadn't written the rest of the books, so they had to make it up with input from him. Like, this is how the story's gonna go. you
Yeah.
know? But he didn't
But it
even
just
have it
went
figured
whack,
out yet,
yeah.
and it was no good. Like, really bad. And some of the episodes were cool though, but it was kind of the
R.I.P.
the feeling at the end of that was just like, and that's kind of how I'm feeling sometimes about.
Just a deep exhale.
Yeah, just like, oh, shit, man. Like, where does it go, man? I mean, where do we have a shot at, like, people need music. I believe this, and you believe it too. And so where do we go as musicians and creators and maybe mixers or whatever, producers? Is it viable to stay here? Do we go somewhere else? How does the industry must be reshaped, right? Because I was thinking about this today. Imagine all the people who got those contracts with labels and they were given a front of, $1 million, $2 million. And they said, record an album, and the album came out and that cost them $500,000. And then they had tour plans and then everything got canceled.
Right.
You now owe that company $1.5 million because catastrophe insurance wasn't included in your fucking plan.
Right.
It's pretty fucking nuts, man. So I think that might actually harm the industry pretty dramatically because a lot of those companies were depending on that money to come back, or at least to be indebted to these people in an economy that was strong enough to support the debt.
I mean, I think the fundamental trend we're going to see is overarching centralization.
Yeah.
Companies like Live Nation are going to be better suited to weather the storm. And a lot of independent places are going to get boned. And
Well, that's what's happening as a result of the COVID and lockdowns.
Exactly.
No fucking doubt, man. That's what I was saying. Is this is like a corporate
heyday.
Exactly. They're
They
no
can-
one's benefiting more than corporations right now.
Right. Because America,
Land of the free, home of the.
home of what?
You choose it.
Like, I've never really understood the mindset of American nationalism because I've always just seen this country as a form of hypocritical bullshit that I wish I could be more sympathetic to. And like, there are legitimately great things about this country that I
Yeah.
do not want to understate.
Yeah.
And at the same time, this country uniquely has a form of its head up its own ass.
Oh, it definitely
And,
does.
It's something that seeing the double vision of, I don't know. I remember being in elementary school, post 9/11 world, arguing that people of non-Christian faiths, or specifically Muslim traits, were no better or worse than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that being an outlier position in a room of adults.
That's odd.
And that is an illustration of the cultural shift we're having.
It is. Well, you've been around a lot of America, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, actually.
Yeah, so have I. And I think so what I see is kind of like it's odd because every sector of America, every state, every little subculture is having its different version of splitting apart, but they're all kind of splitting apart. I mean, hey, maybe some places are coming close together. Actually, some places probably are. The governor of South Dakota put out an ad being like, come to South Dakota, no lockdown, am I right? Like, and so in their state, they're all just like, yo, South Dakota, right? Right, we got it. And like
nobody wants to be here in the first place.
Yeah, like whatever, man. South Dakota's pretty, but it's fucking cold, man. And there's no one really there, because it's really cold. Really remarkably cold a lot of the time.
I love the amount of bullshit that goes into the show. As substantive as it is, there's so much just outright bullshit that is totally
all
just part and parcel of the medium.
It's all bullshit. Yeah.
I'll drink to that, bro.
Dude,
here we go.
You need whiskey?
I mean, I got a sip. Fuck it.
I only got a sip.
All
right, well, let's fucking bullshit. Oh, God. No, let's bullshit.
Let's bump the mic
slightly more, and then I'm going to ask you some shit about, I don't know, 5 bands you can't live without, because I want to know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Fun question. Here you go. Take some of that there, Jameson.
I remember witnessing this question and being like, oh, man, if I want to be on the show, I should, have an answer for that, and I don't right now. So that's good.
No, that's good. It's not, not meant to be a canned segment.
Right. No, it's funny, the duality of, I should think of something, and I'm glad I didn't think of something.
Oh, yeah. Maybe keep it on your subconscious at most, but, don't worry about that shit.
Right. No, it doesn't
don't
matter.
None. Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Oh, wait. I was saying bullshitting for a second more, so I really cut you off your toes. Okay, so you're a musician, maybe younger than we are. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to try to jump into the music industry, whatever. What's your move right now? Given that, what's the outcome? What does the industry even look like? The old models are dead, kind of. That many less bands are getting loans from labels to,
right.
Fly free.
You're not looking for that seed money anymore.
No, in fact, what you're looking for is how do I minimize cost while I produce something, which is why most people are going independent.
Right.
And you have session musicians on shit, which is the way it was always done. It's just you'd have an
cut out the middleman.
Exactly, yeah. But
several middlemen.
Yeah, having those, it ensures that it sounds better, but it's again, people right now...
Quantity versus quality, it's kind of skewed right now.
Yeah, and also they don't give a fuck. If it sounds listenable, they're fine.
Right.
Most people, musicians not so much, but most people.
Right. I'm a slave to listenability, bro.
Well,
fuck.
You should be.
Right, and that's why. I mean, I hope that the time I've invested in this hiatus of releasing anything has been worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting on a lot of material.
Well, what can you do? You can't release something and then play a show to support it. It's just check out my song. It's on Instagram.com/ it's
right. It's a weird, right. And so I've been kind of hibernating in some regards, which I needed because, again, giving yourself breaks.
Yeah.
Dude, I hit a wall with writing for my 7 Deadly Sins record. And after the tour blew up, I just took 3 or 4 weeks, literally not do anything for it.
Yeah.
And then I get back and I wind up writing the latter half of my album in 3 days.
Ain't that a bitch?
Right? And it's just wow. It just plop came out.
It's a bitch.
Right. It's great. And so it's so funny how hard it is to predict those periods. Because I've had several waves now of just massive accumulations of okay, end of an era or some type of chapter close.
Yeah.
And I don't know. it's been a long time since I've given myself the freedom to think about a longer format of work.
Yeah.
Besides a single.
Yeah.
And it's kind of daunting in the scale of it, but also really empowering in the scope of it.
How do you mean?
Musically speaking, there's so much more freedom in accepting the singles and other songs game.
Yeah.
And at least in the pop world, anything that isn't a single is a filler.
Yeah.
But I've come to feel like the singles are the attention grabbers and the rest of the material is more of a depth provision.
Yeah.
And like some of the songs on this record, I love the singles.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the one I'm most proud of is not a single. It just, I don't know. But the song format is so much more open-ended to me when it's like you don't have to worry about every song fitting that box.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to a single where it's like, if it's not in the box, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
And that's why I've built up such a catalog of like, there's a lot of shit that I love.
Yeah.
That just isn't a single. And now I'm realizing like, oh, I'm sitting on longer bodies of work and I got to get my shit together. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember reading about like Rolling Stones, and they were one of their managers was just like, yeah, every time they went into the studio, they wanted to make the next hit, which made their albums pretty good, except 4 or 5 songs stuck out among 12 because they took chances on all of them.
yeah,
But the business model was to
all singles.
have them all be hits, and if we take more shots on goal, there's a greater likelihood that one goes in.
Right.
And I wonder if that kind of damages, because I listened to a lot of music that was never designed to be a single.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in that because I do love pop music. I really do. I am slightly offended at modern pop music, but it's mostly for the production of it. It's not for the writing.
Interesting.
The production I'm just like, it's these cost-cutting measures that grappled on a new technology, and it's like, oh man,
Another splice loop.
yeah, oh my god, everything is just, oof. I can't turn this up very loud. The shrieky high ends are impossible to not notice. Possible.
Yeah, the massive 10K shelf, whatever it is.
Exactly, man. So,
but hey, we're lucky we can still hear that shit.
Man, I've had ear problems all my life. I actually got a replacement eardrum in this year.
Whoa.
When I was in 7th grade, blew out.
Holy shit! From what?
Genetics. My dad had something that was similar apparently, and then I had some condition called cholesteatoma, which
Never heard of it.
I don't know what it is.
I have it. Had it. I don't know what it is.
14. It caused pressure on the inside of my ear to pull the eardrum in, and then a hole was created.
Holy shit! I just
Holy shit! Come on. But yeah, so that was weird, and then I got a surgery for it, and that was also weird, and then I had to get a couple other surgeries. But I don't know, man.
That's intense.
My point is, you don't really need ears for music, clearly, because I didn't have ears for a while.
Well, that explains a lot about your taste.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. Okay, so
Cool.
what do you call it? Oh, right,
5 bands.
Oh yes, 5. Well, not
Or-
just 5 bands. 5 bands, 5 artists, all compiled into one. Singer, songwriter, whatever. Composer, I'm fine with that. Band, I'm cool with that. Just artists as a coherent group. That if you were moved to a desert island and you were forced to listen to only 5 artists and nobody else, who would you go with?
Damn. I guess there's the different questions of who I am right now versus who I've been over the course of lifespan.
Oh, the question.
It's so
Look,
evolving.
your answer will be different tomorrow than it is today.
Right.
Yeah. That's the fun of it.
I mean, It's so interesting that the first band that comes to mind was Under Oath. And that's just something that
is an intense band.
That is an intense band, but bro, like, they spoke to my soul in a way that is like very unlike most pop music.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they make such profound statements, but also way outside the box.
Yeah.
And that's something that just really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I'm actually currently sitting on a collaboration with someone that was in that band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm so fucking stoked. Like, this record's gonna be nuts.
I would be.
Yeah. And so, okay. Under Oath. Other side of the coin, Billy Joel.
All right. I have a very good friend who one of his favorites is Billy Joel.
Hell yeah. I listen to that shit all the time with my mom. Also, it's one of the few artists that my dad actually likes. My dad doesn't like music. It's weird.
Dude, people who don't like music freak me out.
Oh, absolutely, bro.
I don't get it.
My dad literally failed first grade music because he refused to sing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just like,
it's an insecurity.
I love you, Dad, but that's insecure as hell.
Yeah,
and it's
you
just
gotta-
like,
You got to not.
wonder where I get it from. But like, but I've come a long way. And so,
That's all we can do.
right, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
And bro, as much as I want to grow and feel at times that my self-worth is contingent on further growth,
Sure.
I'm so grateful for how far I've come.
Yeah.
And if I could plant in my 12 or 14-year-old's mind everything that would be in his future,
Yeah.
he'd die happy.
I think good people got to have kids, man. I know.
Ooh.
I think they just got to take the crazy risk and they got to go, yo, this planet is going to go to the nut jobs if we do not, like, look, we fucked up, right? We got this shit a little bit wrong, but we were the first ones. There was no way to get it right. God damn it. You listen to me. We're the only ones who know. Because the older
everybody
generation.
thinks that.
Yes, but
But it's an evolving
It
concept.
keeps the thing going.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are kind of checking out. And
I mean,
anyway,
again,
who's your
the scent of nihilism?
third
So
band?
So okay, we got Under Oath, we got Billy Joel. I love that contrast so far. I guess like this is one where it's like it's less of my current interest and more of just acknowledging a band that played a major factor in my embracement of musicianship. I'd said Guns N' Roses.
Interesting.
Like that band really woke up something in me that I like struggled to explain. But I mean, again, like it was just one of the first things. I got it off my cousin's iTunes library that he like Napstered or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but it was the first thing you heard that kicked ass or
Right, like it just kicked ass.
I mean, my
And
first one was fucking Green Day. So,
there you go,
yeah,
bro. I mean,
yeah.
that same cousin Mark. Shout out my cousin Mark Souter, my boy. Like, yeah, he gave me Green Day. He gave me Blink-182, which Blink-182 might get an honorary mention. I don't know if they're on the list.
I
but,
was
like,
a big fan of Blink
Yeah.
growing up, and then at a certain point, I was like, so that we might differ in that sense.
I mean,
Because I still like Green Day a lot, but when I listen to Blink-182, I hear Tom DeLonge voice,
yeah.
and I'm just like, "Hey, mom, there's something in the." No.
I mean, it serves its purpose.
It's still good, though.
Even at the time, I found it kind of obnoxious, but that's part of the
Yes,
charm.
But it's kind of good.
Oh,
still.
it's so
Like,
good.
yeah.
It's legendarily good, and
Yeah.
at the same time, very,
Bad.
very skewed towards a particular taste.
Yeah.
And so, but capitalism, baby, it worked.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. Who did I say was my third? I've forgotten already.
Blink-182.
No. Fuck. Whatever.
You got Billy Joel. You got
Under Oath.
and fuck.
Oh, Guns N' Roses.
Guns
there
N'
we
Roses,
go.
yeah.
We out
Hey,
here.
we in here.
We in here. We out here.
You know how it is, dude. We in the studio.
Bruh.
Bro, come on.
I'd also probably nominate My Chemical Romance.
You are like, I'm not even kidding. I have video evidence of this from like 3 other people. every time someone brings this shit up, they're all musicians I respect, yourself included.
Hell yeah.
I'm not a huge My Chemical Romance fan, but all of them are like, yeah, My Chemical Romance. I'm like, dude, I was a pop punk kid for a while. I never got into My Chemical Romance. I knew I'm Not Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great song to this day. I actually think Black Parade's a really good song. A couple other ones are really good, but I never checked out their albums. Yeah. And so many people now have been like, who I respect, have been like, dude, My Chemical Romance, I'm telling you. I'm like,
yeah.
the fuck am I missing? Like, what? Could I listen to it at my age, though, and be
Oh,
like...
absolutely. I mean, think about it. Connect to it from the period of that era.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's something that really helps me is contextualizing it to the time.
Right.
And that's something I strive to with my own work is contextualizing it within time.
Well, and I think that's why people like stuff from the past a lot of the time. People tend to like stuff not just from the past, but from very significant developmental periods.
Yeah.
Like from, what's the first one? Like 2 to 5 or something. And the next one is like 9 to 12. It's shit that you kind of hear when, your dad's just like being a dumbass in the house. And
exactly.
Like, here's the record I put on, a CD that I popped in.
And it's just
some bullshit.
Right.
But you kind of develop an affinity for that shit.
Absolutely,
because while you're in that crucial developmental period, you're just like, nice. This
nice.
fucking cat.
Shout out Kitty. What's Kitty's name?
Faye.
Shout
out to Faye.
Hey, that's
okay,
also
so
my ex's OnlyFans username.
Oh.
But, like,
good to know that your ex has an OnlyFans. Oh, man.
I mean, dude, I'm proud of her. Like, honestly, just, like, do your thing.
Hey, you can't think your way to success. You might as well sell your body.
Bro, like, in this economy, ain't no shame.
Hey, I'm not disparaging anybody for it.
Yeah.
I think if you can avoid doing that, you should avoid doing that.
Okay, thinking of other bands. So I've named 4 now.
We got Under Oath, Billy Joel, Guns N' Roses,
MCR.
Right. MCR. You fuckers are a cult, man. You My Chemical Romance fans, I swear to God, you're all like diehard about it. It's weird. And
it's funny. I don't even consider myself that much of a diehard.
No, I don't think you do, but none of my friends who bring them up is like, dude, I ask you your 5 artists you're gonna bring on and you bring up them. You clearly consider them.
Yeah.
Quite significant,
I mean, 2 of their albums significantly impacted the course of my life.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's something that, and like the 2 are 3 Cheers and Black Parade. And it's interesting.
I'm just saying they have a weirdly tight-knit, maybe not tight-knit, but they have a very steady following.
Yeah,
Solid
absolutely.
Following.
I mean, they were a breakthrough.
Yeah. Poop.
Not quite. But Bright Eyes, which...
Pretty close with some of the recordings that guy made, but yes.
But bro, some of the recordings,
dude. Are you a what's his fucking? Who's the douchey version? He's the guy who wrote Pink Moon.
Oh, Nick Drake.
Yeah. Are you a Nick Drake fan?
I've listened to him, but I wouldn't consider myself an explicit fan.
I'd be interested to see if you listened to him because I had to somehow, just by the luck of the cards, gotten into Nick Drake before, what's Elliott Smith? Okay. So I listened to Nick Drake. I was like, okay, I was a big fan, I don't know if I would be now, but he does some complex shit where I'm just like, okay.
That's prog. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super prog. And Elliott Smith, I think my favorite song by him might be Walk On or Walk Down Alameda, which is on Either Or. yeah, I don't know. I just in him I hear a lot of Nick Drake, like, in the production, in the kind of emotive nature of the music. Like I was just curious if you like Nick Drake. Yeah.
I mean, I know Pink Moon, and
Pink. Yeah.
Right.
Solid stuff, Nick. Let's print it.
So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that covers a decent scope. Under Oath,
does.
Billy Joel, GNR, MCR, Bright Eyes. That's an approximation.
I think it's great.
Something like that.
Well, fantastic. Let's wrap it up then. We've had enough whiskey, enough pot, enough conversation. God damn it.
I'm sick of you already, bro.
I only want to hear my own thoughts for the next few hours.
Get out of my house.
Just kidding. It was a sincere pleasure. Hold on. I can't cheers you with this bullshit. This is nuts.
There we go.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
We out here.
We in here.
Oof.
You want some?
Fuck me up.
All right. It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
All right. Something, blah, blah, blah. Pleasure to have you, man.
Pleasure to be here, bro.
Blah, blah, blah. And it's still going. Hopefully.